Welcome to the comic zone. Welcome to the comic zone.
What's going on, party people? This is the Comic Zone podcast. I'm Mike. That's Chelsea right there. DJ Nike on my left, and of course, Bill. We are live on Facebook and TikTok right now,
Yes, we are.
talking about Guardians of the Galaxy today.
Woohoo!
The new movie. First off,
So yeah, let's start off.
yeah, I have to start by saying there will be spoilers in this episode.
Major spoilers.
So just be aware of that. If you haven't seen it, just don't watch this until later. It'll be up.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you want to leave.
Right.
We'll start off a little bit light, but
Yeah. So starting off,
and warned.
Bill, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you thought of the movie overall?
It was a great movie. It was a great way to kind of wrap up the Guardians franchise up with the James Gunn, and it made sense. I wasn't as big as a fan of the second one, but this one finished it up nicely, especially with all the conclusions. And he didn't have to kill anybody. They just kind of stepped
Yes.
down. And, they can come again later as another character, whatever. So it was flexible. So that was, I think, a very smart move. And, even with villains, I don't necessarily like it when they have to kill off all the villains for the same kind of reason.
Yeah.
True story.
I will say, they made us think they were going to kill some of the main cast though a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
they did,
The
for
trailer,
sure.
the trailer gave you heavy people are gonna die vibes.
Well, yeah, and I think that's kind of the vibes we tend to get now. Anyway, I think we're used to at least somebody is going to die or it's going to seem like they're dead type of thing, whether it's like the TV shows or the movies. And so we probably expected that in a way, but it was a pleasant surprise that it wasn't that at all. It didn't end with any traumas or sadness and pain. Everybody could just kind
But
of,
the
I
whole
guess.
thing was a trauma in a lot of ways, too.
It really was, but I like that their parting was more or less we are going to go grow as people on our own as individuals versus this group. And, they just kind of went their own separate ways, which I really appreciated. I loved that.
And
for
then you
it
got a
to end that way.
glimpse. And then you got a glimpse of the next Guardians team. which
Exactly. Yep.
looks pretty cool. I mean, hopefully they continue with that because that'd be a shame to not see those characters again.
Or even just see them pop up in some sort of, Marvel film
sure they
later
will.
on,
I
like-
would say that I think as far as what we've seen, especially with like the Avengers films and those big ensemble casts,
Yeah.
they had a very bad job of killing off people. And I mean, sometimes it was necessary, but again, like you guys said, it wasn't necessary for the storyline.
Yep.
So, and I think they
I
did
think,
a great
yeah,
job.
I
with
think
that.
the reason they didn't need that is because of all the cruelty to animals stuff. They were,
Oh my God.
you know what I mean?
There's a
So-
lot of.
so you
there's
were
a lot of
getting-
people
you were-
who are
There's
upset
a
about
lot.
that.
You were getting that fucking the same feeling you would from one of your favorite characters.
Well, I'm
dying,
glad
but,
they
like,
didn't play Sarah McLaughlin then. So I mean,
Oh,
it was.
man,
It,
yeah.
They probably
It-
should
it
have
could have
some
been that-
point.
that song was around in those eras, so it would fit the timeline of the Zune, whatever
Zune,
device.
yeah.
It is. Zune.
Mhm.
Yep.
I never had one, so I don't know.
Neither did I.
Yeah, that was only around. We were talking about that after the movie, remember? And we were like, you thought it was an iPod or whatever, right?
No, I knew it was a Zune.
And then-
yeah, and it was funny because you forget that the movie what years they take place or the type of, because I think this one is in the same time frame, but because of the technology that Peter had when he left Earth, it's kind of funny to see that he's using this. You've got all these spaceships and all this highly upgraded tech, and then you had a Walkman in the first movie.
Mhm.
Now you have a Zune. It's not even an iPod. You know what I mean? So you weren't even using the most popular technology that was available on Earth. It's definitely like,
Well, and like they couldn't make a better device. You know what I mean? His ship can't just play music without it.
For reals.
Like, what?
Well,
know?
yeah, I was going to point out, I mean, who knows how popular music is on other planets with other life. Maybe it's something that's special only
Well,
to Earth, you know?
every-
Is it
Everywhere
in
on-
the comic? Like the Walkman?
No.
I don't know. I've never.
would
He
probably
wasn't
say
like that
no.
he was a different character altogether in the comics.
well, he was the same character, but it was different. Like there was a whole
Yeah,
completely
well, his
different team.
Yeah.
Like the team that we have now is like the 2000s Guardians. The original Guardians of the Galaxy was a completely different team, with the exception of Yondu, and then they changed the way he looked in his power set. So, yeah, this new team is the 2000s team, not the original Guardians team. Which I would like to see them do something with that in the future because they've teased a lot of those characters.
Well, isn't that the team that the team of Ravagers that Sylvester Stallone?
Some of them. That was
That's
two
what-
of the original characters.
Yeah, a couple of those were Guardians in the comics. You know what character I liked that we didn't see a lot in the movie was that kind of like seahorse looking like red guy that could make portals. You know what I mean? He was the red, like crazy alien looking guy, and he was the one.
I know who
so
you're
when-
talking about.
when they boarded the Guardian ship and they had just walked through all these.
Oh, yeah, and he
portals.
had,
Doesn't
like,
he
the-
kind of like
yeah.
slither
Yep,
along?
and
Yeah.
so he was the one doing that.
And he had like the kind of the Doctor Strange portal kind of things going on,
Yep. mhm.
getting in and out of the ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he manifested that. You remember the part where everybody was laughing, and to show that he was laughing, he
Mhm.
like made an emoji
Yeah.
out of thin air
Yeah.
Yeah.
between his hands. So
Mhm.
his power set's kind of fucking nuts.
I think I forgot
So
it was
that
a he.
kinda
I thought it
messes-
was a her. I thought it was a girl.
Doesn't
Or
that mess
maybe
with the
it is.
timeline?
What's up?
Doesn't that mess with the timeline? Were emojis out during the time that the Zune was?
Well, you got to think.
Well,
that
no, this is happening like modern day though. Like
I guess that's
Yeah,
the
when they-
movie's not in the 90s.
So that's just when they picked that up from Earth time was in that
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
Yeah, because he said he was 8 years old when he was kidnapped by the Ravagers. So,
So he got kidnapped
Right.
in the 80s.
late 80s. Yeah.
And so that's why, that was his connection to Earth and his mom and whatever. And that's why he had the Walkman. It wasn't like
Yep.
he couldn't have some better technology play the music.
That's what
Is-
his mom gave him.
Yeah. Those tapes and, the Walkman and all that shit.
So just his way of continuing the same.
And then Yondu gave him the Zune. So it's the same thing. He wanted to.
And now
That's his
Yondu's dead.
yeah, it was the same situation. Like Yondu
Yep.
died.
Speaking of Yondu, it was nice to see him again, even though it was like his
yeah.
Like a brief
hallucination or
like a
whatever.
yeah.
flash ghost.
It was his Obi-Wan ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
that
like
shit was-
Sheldon did. We just watched that.
Oh yeah, with the old guy, Bob Newhart.
yeah,
I forgot what his
Newhart.
character's name was. The
It's
science
Arthur,
guy.
isn't
Arthur.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Arthur Jeffries,
That's
you know,
right.
Professor Proton.
Professor Proton.
Yeah, I was saying I know the whole theme song too.
So, as far as the movie goes, like overall, I think I was like a little bit surprised because I liked it more than I liked the second movie. I didn't hate the second movie or anything.
Right.
I thought it was great too. But I was surprised that this one was even better than maybe not the first movie. That one was pretty great.
But you know what? There's one thing I want to say about Guardians that I think we forget about a lot was that because it wasn't one of the like major Marvel books, I think we had a much smaller rating scale for it. Like we've gone to all those movies, especially before seeing the first one, thinking like, all right, this is going to be what it is, but I'm not expecting anything great. And then it ends up being great. But I think because we had that lower expectation to begin with, it makes it easier. Like when you went to go see some of the other ones where people, I think their feelings were hurt that it wasn't as good as they were expecting. I don't think
Yep.
people went to this one with those high expectations.
Yeah, and then
Well-
you come out going, "Oh, that movie was awesome."
Yeah.
And that's what I was wanting to tell Bill earlier before we came on here was that when I went into it, my only expectation was, okay, this is our last like James Gunn film.
Mhm.
It's our last Guardians with this group of people. And so I wasn't expecting like any big reveals or something huge for, the next step in like the Marvel universe. I was literally just expecting a film about the Guardians and what's going to happen with them. And I had no other expectations to it, which I think is what made it so great for me, is that I wasn't looking for all those
I'd
things
agree.
like we have been with all the previous movies where we've been disappointed.
Love and blunder.
Oh God, yeah.
Word choice.
Yeah, we know how
I'm
she
still
feels
mad about
yeah.
Gore. I'm
Pun
still
intended.
mad.
Looks
I
like
could go butcher some Marvel executives. Okay,
Looks like Adrian in the chat just said that she loves or they love your jumpsuit.
oh, tell them I said thank you. It's a free people jumpsuit, a little pricey, worth every penny.
And there was the girl moment.
It happens.
Anyway, where were we at?
I
So
think
I have a question, and it kind of goes off a little bit of what you were saying there, of not expecting any kind of connective tissue to the continuing bigger plot in the MCU. In a little bit of the way, I was disappointed because I've kind of come to expect it. So I'm kind of wondering to all of you guys, are we owed this? Do we think, does there need to be a connective, always pushing the bigger plot forward in every single movie?
I would definitely say no. If the films can stand alone, because pretty much Black Panther did, Wakanda Forever. I think it had a very inclusive story. And you can see how it might connect things in the bigger world, but we didn't have to see Kang in there. You know, their whole thing was what was going on with the whatever they were calling the Atlanteans in that film. But like there was a very not moving that phase forward. It was just what's going on.
But it was still really good, and they even brought what are they, Atlanteans? Is that what they call them?
No, they changed them.
I don't remember what they call it, but it kind of brought like a different people into the mix. But I think they did it in a way where we didn't need kind of like that bigger picture thing. Like I enjoyed it for what it was. Right. And I think I agree with you that no, I don't think every movie or show, whatever, needs to necessarily move on to the bigger picture. Because look at even like Moon Knight, for example.
Oh yeah,
that
good one.
I thought was an amazing show. Had a great storyline, some awesome dynamic characters, but it literally did nothing to add, to kind of what's going on in the Marvel universe at the moment.
Right.
But it was still just a good show and very well done. And I wasn't disappointed that we didn't get anything added to it because I think they brought in such a great character.
Right.
It kind of made up for it because I'm like, ooh, we have somebody new who to me is almost more interesting than some of the other ones we've seen just because of all his different counterparts
Agreed.
and stuff. So sometimes it's exciting getting those newer ones thrown in there if they're done well, and sometimes they're done shitty like She-Hulk. So
I love it that we all have our own. I know Bill definitely agrees with you as far as She-Hulk. It wasn't his favorite, but I liked it.
It wasn't
thought
my
it was-
favorite, but
I
I
thought
loved
it was a good
her
show.
as a character, and the gal that played her. I thought she was portrayed very well, but they didn't do her justice with the story itself.
That I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's what I didn't like, how they kind of just wrapped it up. They kind of wrote it off in some clever little way and then said, I'm done. Tap out. No more money. You got a green stripe across like, what's his face is Sirach's. So that's not his name.
Yeah,
Ciroc.
that's what we're
Ciroc, that's
drinking.
the vodka. But, yeah. But the actress, I was a huge fan of. I thought she was an amazing actress and did a great
too.
role.
Mhm.
But it was just how it just ended. I'd almost rather it just kind of cut and say to be continued than how
Same.
I thought the Kevin Feige as an AI was funny. And it had a few kind of things there, but then when they threw in Daredevil and then they just kind of at the end.
Yeah, that seemed kind of
so
cheap
much.
too
What's that?
because
What's that?
they've never, like, her and Daredevil have not met in the comics. Like, that's never been a thing. So that was also kind of weird that they kind of threw them together.
I wouldn't say that they
which-
have met in the comics before.
Okay, they've like met briefly, but they've never fought together or had any sort of like romantic relationship. Never even really had much of, I would say, a friendship even necessarily. They just kind of in passing. And maybe in the modern, like the more modern comics now,
Right.
they've changed that, obviously, maybe from the show. But I love Charlie Cox, so like I wasn't mad, but but it felt very out of place though to me. Like it almost seemed like they kind of just threw him in to throw him in, which his appearance in Spider-Man was much better.
It probably was just like one of her, breaking the fourth wall moments. Like, what are we just throwing in new characters for each episode as a cameo,
Right.
kind of bring Marvel attention? Well, that's what it was.
Well, yeah, but I think they did a good job of it with Abomination as well, and the Asian guy. I know he's got
Wong.
yeah,
Oh,
Wong,
yeah, Wong.
Wong,
Yeah.
yeah. I
The
kept wanting to
Asian
say
guy.
Kang. I knew it was 4 letters. Yeah, Wong. I think they did a very good job of bringing him in there because, like you said, a lot of times you didn't see Doctor Strange or his cast interacting with She-Hulk. So I think they did a good job of it overall.
So, as far as Guardians goes, though, what did you guys think of the High Evolutionary?
Oh, I think they nailed him. Honestly, I think there's a possibility that he may be even a better villain than Kang. You know what I mean? I like Kang as a character, but villain-wise, I don't think he's really been like that standout Thanos yet. And I mean, we've seen
Yeah.
we've seen
saw
so many
some shit
different
where-
versions of him, so we haven't seen necessarily that really big evil one, except for what we got a little bit in Quantumania.
Yeah.
But I think just to show that singular purpose, the High Evolutionary definitely had it, and I appreciated it. I liked it.
Your,
I did
your
too.
phone is blocking your shot of you in the camera, by the way.
Oh, whoops.
I thought he was a good villain for the movie The High Evolutionary, but I thought as an actor, I thought he was kind of flat. I thought he really only had one or two dimensions. I saw more dimensions as far as like, being a trustworthy person as far as Kang, and seeing a lot more dynamic range with him as an actor than I did with
Oh,
the
yeah.
High Evolutionary. Was just angry, mad, and it's just, you beat me, so I'm going to kill you. I mean, it kind
He
of had.
only had like two sides. I
It was
would
a little
say.
dumbed
Like,
down for
Yeah,
a
for sure.
villain. As far as somebody who was supposed to be super smart, let his emotions carry away with him and his own pride.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that is his character flaw. But as far as a dynamic villain, not as much. Great
Yeah.
for the movie. Was he big bad worthy?
Was he worth keeping around?
I wouldn't care
No,
to see
no.
more of him. You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
if-
Like
Yeah.
he was
Maybe he's a
good
duo.
for Rocket and his story and what we needed, of his backstory and everything. But I think as far as like a continuation with him, I wouldn't care about. Like he didn't do it enough for me to be like, yes, I have to see more of this villain. I want to see more of Kang right now.
All right, well, let's put it
Really
this way,
all-
though, but I think my bad for cutting
you're
you
good.
off. I think this has to do a lot with what Bill was saying. There's a lot of times where we're expecting these continuations, but a lot of the singular film roles where where it was just the one movie and that bad guy. Most of the time they killed him, like in the first Iron Man, the second Iron Man, and the third Iron Man, Captain America. Even though we saw Red Skull way, way later down the line, like a lot of the villains, even Killmonger in Black Panther, like most of the villains only made it for one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if they serve their purpose, fine, move on.
Right, and as long as they serve it well, is the thing. Because honestly though, with Killmonger, I was bummed that they killed him off in the first one. He was a villain that I personally would have liked to have seen a little bit more of.
He was
We- but
definitely
we
worth
did
keeping around.
Get him in What If? Didn't
Yes, we did,
We
yeah.
got the
Yes, we
ultimate.
Well,
did.
yeah, you got a variant of him, but
And
that
also-
was one of the best episodes.
In the
too.
Ghost World too, he was also
In Wakanda Forever.
he did make
Yep.
it in Wakanda Forever.
That's true. Yeah,
Spoiler!
I mean that's true. But I guess I would have liked more of him though when he was alive. So that is one of those instances where I'm like, I would like to have seen more of this villain and kind of what they could. I feel like they didn't explore him.
Really
enough.
all
And he
the-
did have a great dynamic range as a villain as far as having both sides of a personality. He was relatable and also a villain at the same time.
Yeah, and really
And a
all
great
the
Well, and
actor.
yeah, I was gonna say just as an actor, even like I hadn't really seen him in anything before then and fell in love with him. Sorry.
You're good.
I will
Really,
say
well,
that
hold on. Really, all that fucking the High Evolutionary did was he was like calm or screaming his fucking head off
True.
and
yeah.
losing his like in somebody's face.
He was like the little like grade school teacher, then to like the fanatical like
Yeah, then he's fucking losing his shit.
He had no shades of gray to him.
What
It was
are we
very
doing
black
today,
or
Pinky?
white. His character shift.
So, yeah, he
there was
was-
nothing in between.
He was really one dimensional as far as
Yeah. No, don't you?
bad guys go. You know what I mean? And he's definitely a throwaway.
right.
But he worked very well for the film, though. I still liked
Yeah, it
him
worked.
in it. But yeah, we don't need to
Because
see
it was
more
nice.
of him.
It was nice to see Rocket's backstory finally.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we
that
all
was-
we all knew it was gonna be fucked up, but you just wonder
Yeah.
you just wonder how fucked up it was gonna be, and then it turns out like they didn't need to kill anybody in the movie because it was so fucked up that with all the shit with the animals and shit. They're like,
Right.
yeah, we
Oh,
don't need to
God,
kill.
it was horrible. And after just getting a puppy, back in, October of last year. She's my precious little. She's kind of gray and black, and she's got a little black around the eyes, little Merle corgi, and so she reminds me of a raccoon sometimes. And the whole movie, I was just like, I need to go home and see my dog and love her.
If you're watching on TikTok, tap the screen, likes. Let's get up to 1K.
Word. Now, yo, there is something.
And if you-
This is a very small thing.
Trin just joined us, so what's up?
Oh, what up? What up? This is the second Marvel film that had an F-bomb in it.
Oh my. Okay, when was the
'Cause
first one? Because I.
Killmonger.
He's like,
Killmonger
open
was
the
the-
fucking door.
Yeah, Killmonger was the first person to say F.
Oh, okay.
He said fuck, and then Peter Quill.
Dude, yeah, when he said
Star-Lord.
open the fucking door, I was just like,
That shit was hilarious because
Yes.
I was thinking that. I'm like, open the fucking door.
And then he said
He's
it. It was like, yes.
He's like, okay, push the button. Now what? Open the fucking like,
oh, okay. Speaking.
and him trying to drive like that shit was.
Oh,
fucking
that was
hilarious.
so funny. That's like me.
Just driving through the fucking yard, like.
Yeah, just going. But speaking of like things that Peter said, I loved that so everybody is pissed, right?
Mhm.
In Infinity War or whichever one it was when he fucks everything up for everybody, and I love that he made mention of that. He's
Yes.
like, yeah, he's like, so
Almost
got
ended
really
the world. Yeah.
yeah, I got really angry and almost ended the world because they killed my girlfriend, and I'm like, that was for all of us that bitched about him and were just hated him as a character
I was one of them.
in them.
Oh, when
You
he
know,
fucked everybody over.
I
and-
never did because
What's up, Yvette?
if you truly loved somebody and was in that situation, you probably would have done the same thing as him. But it was just nice that they acknowledged it in the movie. That made my whole life. I thought it was great.
I also like that this one wasn't Peter centric. You know what I mean? Because he was always
Yeah.
the big name, the
Right, the
biggest name in there.
main-
Yeah. And I like that we got a whole lot more. We got to see a lot more of Drax, not just being the dumb, strong guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got a lot more of Nebula. It looks like she's grown so much along this ride.
Love
and
her.
I
Follow
love
the
her.
actress
her.
on TikTok or on
I do.
Insta. She's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Dude, and
she's
just
beautiful
how-
and a redhead.
just how well of an oiled machine they are as far as fighting with the, like
Oh, yeah.
so, like in the first movie they like fought well together, but in this one you could tell they've done it 100 times.
Yeah.
Some of those fighting scenes too. There was one like towards the very end, and just the cinematography
Oh,
of
was
it
flawless.
was phenomenal.
The
it was-
hallway.
yes,
Yeah.
the hallway. It was just mwah, like
Yo, I'm
chef's
glad you
kiss.
brought that up too, because I don't know. I'm not going to say this is a bad thing, but this was definitely something I noticed last week because I watched the Skywalker trilogy of Star Wars again. There were quite a few. I don't know if they were on purpose, but it almost seemed like they were nods to Star Wars. I don't think it was like overly done, like how they did Quantumania. Just looked like it was a Marvel movie in the Star Wars universe. But like with Peter getting frozen again, because that happened in the first movie.
Yep.
But him freezing, you know what I mean, because he couldn't make it back.
Oh yeah, when he
to-
was
to
in space.
nowhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that reminded me of when it happened to Leia, and she had to
Yeah.
use the Force to get back
Or
in.
the Chewbactopus, okay, that big, that big monster that shows. I can't even remember who it's fighting, but he shows up and it straight up looks like the dude, whatever his name is.
The gold guy. It was when
He looked like Chewbacca and an
who's the gold guy?
octopus.
Adam
Like,
Warlock,
Warlock.
which I think we need
Yep.
to talk about him. A
Yeah,
little
we
bit more
definitely
later,
need to
too.
talk
you know,
about
I'm
him.
kind of bummed that they didn't do more with him.
He
I
was
think
just-
that was an entry. I think that
I-
was
and-
an entry.
and
and
he
I
was
agree that
funny.
it
I like the guy that's playing him.
Oh, is it Will Poulter?
Yes.
Yes, he does. I know him mainly from like horror video games that I play with him in them. So
I knew him
it's
from Maze Runner.
well, it's funny. Well, I obviously knew him from. Is it We're the Millers? Where
That too.
yeah, I knew
Yeah.
him from that. But then he's part of this dark anthology video game series that I'm so used to him in those that it was kind of interesting seeing him almost in this like. He's a new life form, and he's just kind of dumb role because he just doesn't know anything.
And he had
Yeah,
his
he was
he had his
literally
eight
just
pack
born.
moment too, his shirt off moment, like every Marvel guy has to have.
Yeah.
Oh hush it. We get all the girls naked. The guys need to have their moments too.
well, no, that's
Yeah.
fine. But I'd rather be Chris Pratt, over him. But
Oh, here we go.
whatever.
he looked smaller in this movie, like probably still cut, but he had less mass. Like so in the second movie when he did it, or was it the first one?
It was the first one.
First
He was
one he did his
Yeah,
shit.
he
he
Like,
was
was
cock decent.
jacked.
he was big but in this one he looks smaller. like
That's
less.
okay. Him's got a little meat on his bones, you know. A little pudge never hurt anybody.
I like that he was like struggling with losing Gamora, so you really saw he
Yeah.
was like getting drunk, and it's not the same guy, so to speak, as like the other two movies.
Well, and
Like
even
this
when
one-
she was around, how he like couldn't separate that other her from the one he lost, and she's even getting kind of pissed at him that
Right.
he's kind of projecting onto her.
I'm glad they touched base on that too, because I
Me
think that would have
too.
been real sorry of the, for her just to have fallen in love with him the same way. It was like, this is not, you know what I mean? It's
Well, yeah, I'm glad that it ended with like she still went back to her team of people. Like she wasn't technically a guardian, but I think it leaves the door open that maybe something
Right.
could happen. But I'm glad that they just didn't go, "Oh, he got the love of his life back," because it doesn't work that way. And so I'm glad they didn't
yeah, I wouldn't have
try
liked
to.
it.
I
yeah.
wouldn't
that
have liked
would've
something
been
like that either.
A cop out.
That would have been a cop
Yeah,
out.
exactly. And I'm glad that they didn't do that.
Yeah, just like it would have seemed like a quick way, because like that, and also it would just take away all the impact of her dying in Endgame.
Facts.
Like that wouldn't mean
True.
shit, and you'd just be like, oh, there's no consequences here.
So Vincent just said, I'm sure Batista was a little out of shape too, hence the full outfit.
Yeah,
That's a possibility.
yeah.
I mean,
And-
yeah.
and I
it's-
did notice that because in the first two, he
Too.
doesn't.
It was he was just had pants on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
was
that's
it.
true.
So
Yeah.
who's Batista?
he's
Drax.
he's
Drax.
Drax.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
hmm
Dave
Huh.
Batista,
Yeah.
who I'm going to say this right now, and I might catch some flack for it, but I don't care. I think as far as WWE wrestlers that have gone to the way of the movie, I think as an all-around actor, he has surpassed
He's probably the
Rock
best one.
and John Cena, because The Rock and John Cena play the same character in everything they've been
they're
in.
just a bunch of big hams. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you can't take them seriously in any movie.
But
you
we're
watch.
starting,
And- and
we're
they
starting
play-
to get
and they
getting
play the
deep roles
same
from them.
Like he said, they play the same fucking character.
They're just
in
like a
every
big old
movie.
meathead, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, The Rock plays himself in every movie.
Oh, he
Yeah,
does,
He
yeah.
doesn't play characters. He's just himself.
But Drax is starting to. Or
Yeah, he's
Dave
actually
Bautista-
Yeah.
he's actually a dynamic actor. He's playing Drax, and then I've seen him in other movies where he's not like Drax at all. You know what I mean? It's
One just came out today. I was talking to your wife about this earlier, but I don't know if you guys saw it. It's the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
yeah, where they're like the
He's a teacher. Yeah, it's called
Yeah.
Knock in the Cabin. That one it's very good. He's not playing anything like any character he's ever done before.
super
it-
serious
yeah.
character.
Ooh, I'd like
shows-
to check that
It
out.
shows his growth as an actor, and that one really made he was already one of my favorites to begin with, but just to see him come a long way and do something different other than the meathead wrestler roles, I was
Wasn't
like,
he
yes.
also in Stubert?
Yeah, which I would not watch.
It's funny. It's actually pretty good.
Stubert.
Yeah, he's an Uber driver, and then he gets Batista as.
Oh
his,
yeah, I
he's
remember.
just it's stupid, but it's funny. You know, if it's a free rental and
It was on Netflix, wasn't it?
Check
Or
it out.
something. Prime.
Yeah, something like that. It was one of their movies, right?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Probably Netflix.
I'll have to look up some more of what he's in besides Guardians, because I mean I haven't watched him in much, truthfully, but I'm really bad at keeping up on anything new usually, so I'm kind of behind on the times.
So I have a question for
Mhm.
everybody too. Do you think the MCU is ever going to be as good as Endgame again?
No.
That depends on who you're asking.
And what is it? What
You
would
know what
it?
I mean?
What would it take?
I think it would depend on who you ask, to be honest, because like a casual fan's gonna be like no straight up, you know what I mean? But if you don't give it time to build up again, then you know what I mean? I think that's been my point, is I feel like we're almost seeing the close to the end of the MCU. I think if this like this, you know, whatever they're doing, set of phases up until their big end game, that if that fails, then they just stop for a while, I bet.
And I don't know if I've ever seen such a big kind of cohesion of so many different movies into one
Right.
major, pivotal point.
All right. Well, here I'm going to give you my my thoughts about this. It's going to be hard for him to top Endgame in that first phase, but that's just because that was the first time it had ever been done before. You know what I mean? There were so many firsts. The Avengers was the first ensemble superhero movie cast, and that broke records. And then by the time we got to Infinity
Well,
War,
no, Civil War.
all right,
Civil
yeah.
War would have been the
Well,
first.
no, Avengers was the first one.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So Avengers was the first one, and then we got Civil
And then
War.
they're
but-
just stepping it up every
but
time.
yeah,
like
and to
adding
go
people.
from what maybe the 8 people they had in Avengers to go all the way up to the 60 that they had in Infinity War and Endgame, that's a lot. So I think a lot of people would probably say no, they'll never be able to find it again. But I think now, because they've added so many new characters and there's so many more that are coming, we know we're getting a Fantastic Four movie. Once this writer strike is over, hopefully we get Blade, because I did see today.
Yeah, I
what's
saw
gonna,
that too.
What's
They
going to
did
happen
actually-
with that too?
yeah.
That's good. That could fuck
Yeah,
this whole thing
writer's
up too.
strike.
Like Heroes.
Yeah.
You know, they,
Heroes, Smallville, a lot of TV
Yep.
shows back the last strike really killed a lot of things.
Yeah,
so,
Smallville had a very like shitty couple of seasons,
yeah,
like in the
five,
middle.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
It was bad. Yeah, it was really bad. And then it got good again once
After
that
the
was
strike
over.
was over,
And I
yeah.
think, I think the MCU, I don't think it's bad right now. But I don't think it'll ever be as good as the whole like Infinity War and Endgame, because if you think about it too, they gave us all the characters people love right away. We got
Yeah.
the Hulk and Cap and Thor and Iron Man, all the big ones that people love, that they think about. And now they're doing the entire, like, we're getting, like the introductory, like, here's a new character, kind of thing. But I think they did it better the first time, though. Because I remember when I went to watch Captain America, and I was like, I bitched the whole time. I was like, I don't want to watch it. It's boring. It's old, like World
Mhm.
War II. Like, nobody cares. And that is one of my most favorite ones.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
great
we've said
movie.
the Cap series is
In-
probably the
Yeah,
best.
the Cap
Yeah.
series.
Yes, and
is
I
from top
love
to
those.
bottom.
And so I think they did a better job of giving us those introductory movies as well back then, because even with Thor, they actually made him very serious and how he is in the comics versus how dumbed down he is now. And so I think it was just better content overall as far as like the introductions, whereas now they are introducing so many at once. How can you give everybody that? Look at how great
good point.
Iron Man was.
All right, but this is my thing with that. You're right. We did get a lot of those big favorites. So Hulk, even Spidey, Iron Man, Cap, Black
Yeah.
Panther. We got those mainstays. But think about, there are a lot of people that their favorite characters aren't the big ones. So I still think there's going to be a lot of other people.
Well,
that are
and
gonna
look at the
jump on board.
Guardians in particular. Nobody knew they liked it until they went and saw it.
even
Exactly.
True.
Deadpool is in the same boat. I think what it would take to really kind of topple it is the full immersion of Spider-Man into the MCU.
Right.
I think so much fan favor is there. And also, and then the next question is, do we need it to top Endgame? As
think
a
so.
fan,
Not really.
and I don't know if it does.
I think some people want that, but I don't think we
I think
need
money.
that.
I think money talks though. And if it doesn't do well, then it ends eventually. It's got to end somewhere, I would imagine.
Like when this stops making money.
Yeah, exactly.
About
And
to say, it doesn't have to end. They've been making Star Wars movies for
It
40
doesn't
years.
have to, but I think they could even slow down a little bit with it instead of like having this big, whatever their end result, is going to be with Kang and all that stuff. Like, rather than going for such this huge big picture, even if they could do kind of smaller stuff, or keep it a little bit more contained versus everything we're watching is another piece of this huge picture. Maybe if we had smaller ones, I think that would be better, almost a little bit more digestible, especially if you are getting into all these movies and stuff later on. Very fortunately for me, once WandaVision started, that's when I watched all the movies, got through the whole Infinity Saga. I'd never watched it before then. But now, look how much shit you have to watch just to be even current to know what's going on with, if you want to know with every character, between TV shows, movies, if you want the full immersion, yeah, there's so much that you have to watch now, and so it'd be
especially
nice,
with the TV shows.
Well,
exactly.
yo, I think-
so
but
it'd
yo,
be
just
nice
like
to have
with
things
comic
that are
books,
their own
though.
separate entities.
I get that. But even like everybody doesn't read every single comic. You know what I mean? Like
True.
I was an Avengers fan, and even I didn't like all of the separate Avengers, so I didn't pick up all of their books.
I'm not a huge
And-
X-Men fan.
Exactly.
I don't
So
read a lot of those
I don't think you have to watch them all to get
Well,
the
and
full
that's
thing.
where that's where movies like this that don't necessarily connect with anything
Mm-hmm.
are good, because then you
Yep.
can just enjoy that. Maybe you just like the Guardians, so you can watch the Guardians movies.
Yeah, and you enjoy
And-
them for what
and-
they are. And
Yeah, stay contained within that. and
I
that's-
know a
and
lot of
that
people
works.
that watch Guardians and they haven't really watched much else of the MCU, but they're like, yeah, I love the Guardians movies. I've seen all of them. And that is what's kind of nice about them is you don't have to watch everything else to understand what's happening in them.
Justine, yeah, she
Vincent-
said The Rock is nice to look at, though.
I
Tell her I highly disagree. Like,
Oh, please, you one of like one woman on
I
planet
know
Earth.
I'm one of the like very few, you know.
Yeah, she likes Pedro.
Yeah.
Vincent said, "I'm
Tell me to
six-
shut up again.
Vincent said, "I'm 62 and they need to wrap this phase up. I want to see Secret Wars before I die."
Yeah, that
Isn't
would be
Secret
true.
Wars coming out?
It's coming soon.
winter.
Let's-
Yeah, it's this
Yeah.
winter.
It's
It might be before that.
But is it going to be
the next phase.
Which Secret War are we going to get? Because there are three
There's three different ones, yeah.
and the most recent one was with Doom.
And there was
And
two.
he
There were
was-
two
he-
Civil Wars too.
True.
So
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying which Secret War movie are we going to get? And I would
I
imagine
think that isn't it going to be a TV show, or is it a
it
movie?
would almost need to be.
I thought it was a TV show
I
with
thought it was a whole phase. I thought it was a whole phase.
I thought it was
No,
gonna
there's going to be a secret. Oh, Secret Invasion is the TV show.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
with like the
my bad. Yeah,
scrolls,
that's-
right? Yeah.
Yeah, that shit. I don't know about that.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that because that actually starts it off,
Because you get Nick Fury though.
and that's
Yeah,
my
that's
guy.
true, yeah.
So Beth was asking, "Do you think the movie was missing anything?"
Not at all. I don't think
No.
this film missed anything. Like I said, the one thing that we've all been talking about was the fact that nobody had to die for it to be, or no main cast had to die in order for it to be special. Like
Yeah.
we still felt the death of Rocket's girlfriend. Like
Oh yeah, that shit
Well,
was.
yeah,
I was saying that
exactly,
hurt me
like,
more than when
Aunt May
Spider-
died.
well, that too, but yeah, Aunt May. You know what I mean? Like I was like, you know what I mean?
I
But
don't
I-
get that. I
Yeah,
don't get that. That didn't bother you when she died.
no, and I don't know why, because
It didn't me either, to be honest. Are you talking about in the newest one,
Yeah.
like young, hot Aunt May?
mean,
Yeah, it didn't do anything
didn't-
for
I mean,
me
I thought
either.
it
I was
was-
just like, oh well, now he's
It wasn't-
truly Peter Parker
It
or
wasn't the
whatever.
best performance.
Her dying.
Yeah,
maybe that was it. That
I
might
think-
have a lot
I
to
thi-
do with it.
I mean, looking back at it,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember just being, no, that can't really be happening. This doesn't seem like she's actually dying. And then it's like,
Yeah.
Seemed like
I was
the
sticking the
Tobey
tongue out, but-
Maguire and Andrew Garfield movies did better with the loss
punch
in them.
is- yeah.
Most
Oh
definitely.
yeah, when
and
Gwen died.
just the slow motion
we
fall.
just can't
yeah.
talk about it. But then he got his redemption.
Yeah, that shit
which
was
was great.
awesome.
That was great. But yeah, this movie, this Guardians, we got to feel everything. I was sad, I cried, I laughed, you got to feel all the emotions with the very like satisfactory ending. There was no disappointment, no sadness. It like you said, nobody had to die for it to wrap up well. And so you leave there you feel good.
It was a good
And
conclusion.
It was a very great
everybody-
conclusion.
It left doors open for other things
Can
too.
we talk about the soundtrack too? Like, please, because that is one of the things about all the Guardians
yeah.
movies that
Oh,
I've
yeah.
always
Stevie's
loved.
saying, "What's up?"
What
Talk
up,
about
what up?
he does the underground radio too. And speaking of radio stations, so what's up? Glad you could join us. Soundtrack, continue.
I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. I've never had any complaints about the music that they've chosen for
and they've-
those movies, and I'm so glad that it was just as good as I was hoping it would be. I was like, it's got to hold up.
And each movie has been a different decade.
Yes, it has, which I also
So this one was the 90s, last one
which
was
is
the 80s.
I mean, I'm wearing a Rage Against the Machine shirt, so obviously we know like the 90s bitch over here. But so of course I loved the soundtrack, but
Yeah.
it was just great that it wasn't disappointing in any way. Like James Gunn gave me exactly what I was
And that's-
hoping for and what I wanted.
We've talked about that before, as far as like James Gunn is very good at writing a story and matching music to that story.
Yeah.
Just like Quentin Tarantino does the same thing.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that so much because we all know I'm the music lover. And so when movies can do that and really just integrate the music into it, so well, and it almost becomes like one whole unit, like the music with the movie. It just
It wouldn't be the same without it.
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
It is a character in the movie just as much as any actor.
And it helps drive the story. It's
And I think that's also why they haven't had a name. It's been Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
well, like mixtapes.
Yeah, exactly. And it fit. Although I will say I did like the second one, and I liked the music in the third. I don't think any Marvel film will ever be able to top the soundtrack to the first one. That one was so epic. Every
Yeah,
song
that
fits
one
the
was
most.
amazing.
Sometimes at work, I will put just the soundtrack
Oh yeah.
to
Yep.
either the first or second.
I do that
And-
too
and
sometimes, like when
it's-
I'm doing my makeup. Yep, I'm like, we're just gonna jam to these tunes, and it's gonna be
And
good.
Mr. Blue Sky in at the beginning of the first or the second Guardians.
hmm
I mean that fucking song. Come on,
That was like #1 on the day I was born.
nice.
And what's the
1978.
Indian group, the native guys, the very first song that Quill's dancing to in the first one? Hey, hey.
I'm
Oh,
hooked on a feeling.
No, not that one. That song's gangsta too. But
I have it downloaded.
Oh, what is he singing in the first one when he's singing into the
yeah,
rap
when he's dancing, yeah,
like a microphone?
it's red something.
Isn't it?
If I
I
wasn't
don't know.
holding the TikTok camera, looking
Tell
at
us in the
myself.
chat.
Yeah.
Like somebody tell us what
Yeah,
song
somebody
it is.
tell us because we're failing epically, apparently. Okay, we're just gonna Google it.
Mikey Frisbee says, "What up, brother?"
Hey, hey.
So
Isn't it Hooked on a Feeling?
No,
yeah, the thing.
Well, I'm telling you,
no.
that's what I thought.
that's not the
No,
one
it's
he was
not.
dancing.
That is in one of the movies, though.
It's in the first one too. Yeah,
Or was it in the one of the like in game or whatever?
it was definitely a Guardians film.
Or,
Does anybody know the name of that
Yeah, I
song?
know.
yeah, somebody tell us in the chat. Like, what's the name of the song? The first song
So-
Peter's singing
I-
to in
I-
the first Guardian.
I'm
I did have to
Googling it
say
right now.
At the beginning of this movie, I thought to myself, okay, great. We're in an OK Go video. When they're all the different colored suits jumping around. It's like it's an OK
Oh,
Go.
yeah.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. That
You
was
know,
awesome.
Because it had the music, the soundtrack, and it was very surreal and a lot of different colors.
You know, one of my favorite parts is just them when they're making their way to that.
Is it Come and Get Your Love by Redbone?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Redbone. Thank
Yep.
you.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Okay, yep.
Come and get your love.
Yeah.
Love
My
it.
jam.
You know when they're going to that space station that's made out of organic material.
With
Right.
Nathan Fillion?
But when they're in those spacesuits and that what song is that is playing when they're in the different colored spacesuits?
Oh, man.
And then they were like the whole sequence with the buttons. He's like trying to push, red.
the
to
red,
top.
the
Oh
blue.
yeah, that
And they're
shit was
like actually
hilarious.
red's for blue and then blue's for
How am I supposed to
These-
keep that shit straight?
and everybody's like, what do you mean?
I mean, there
It's
was
all
a
pretty
lot
obvious.
of songs, so it could have been any number of these. There was a lot. I liked the Faith No More, the We Care a Lot. Was it that song when they
No.
were wearing the suits?
I
Do you
don't
remember
know.
that?
I
You had
remember
to
the
have
mu-
recognized the Faith
Yeah,
No
of
More.
course.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm a big Faith No More fan. At least a few albums for sure.
Beastie Boys made my life.
Oh
though.
hell yeah!
Yeah,
I
like
in
that
there
was. I was
singing.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Beastie
into
Boys
it.
is always dope. Like no, you put it over any scene in a movie. It could be like some romantic shit going on. You put Beastie Boys, you're like, oh shit.
Oh, yo, this has to
Cookie
do with
Puss.
the film, but this has to do with the trailers. Apparently, there was a big mix-up in a lot of the theaters. You remember when we went, because you didn't go when we went. There was a Transformers: Rise of the Beasts trailer, and then there was the one for the new The Little Mermaid.
There was a Transformers.
Do you realize?
Was that the song?
No, that's Flaming Lips. That was later on when there's spaceship.
But at any rate, at some theaters, they were playing the Transformers: Rise of the Beast music with Little Mermaid, and some of the other ones, the Little Mermaid music was playing with Rise of the Beast. But a lot of people said it actually worked. So it's one of those, flub ups that actually worked. Like I saw that. Apparently, it happened over the weekend, and I was cracking up.
See, I was running late, so I saw one trailer. I saw
wah.
the Marvels one.
Dude, that fucking Little Mermaid movie looks like a fucking acid trip. It's especially when she's underwater, that shit looks
As
great.
somebody who grew up loving The Little Mermaid, like the animated one, I'm like,
you had a hard time.
Yes, I want
There's-
to watch it, but I'm scared.
There's a really cool Lego set.
But dude, The Lion King
This
was.
is this big like shell.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen The Lion
find it
King.
here.
The only live action one I've seen so far is the one with Will Smith.
I haven't seen any of them.
Dude,
What was the one?
Dude, the fucking Lion King is super good.
I heard that one was good. Oh shit, the genie.
Oh,
Aladdin.
Aladdin was really good, and I grew up
Oh
on
yeah,
Aladdin.
Will Smith.
Bill, that Lego is
It
amazing.
is
Which
pretty.
one?
I
me
need
see.
that in
So
my
it's a
life.
Little Mermaid Lego,
Oh yeah.
Let me see.
and it's probably
It's a seashell.
seashell like a $300 set.
damn.
I had
probably.
the Ariel doll from like I don't remember if she was like late 90s, early 2000s, but you pressed a button and her tail would move and you could put her in the water and it would change
Oh
colors.
yeah, like swim.
I was obsessed with the Little Mermaid, so
My daughter, for her 12th birthday, I had to find her the fin so she could go swimming with it. And,
Yep.
and that was a pain in the ass finding one of those online.
they're not cheap either.
No, they're not.
No.
So anyway,
What other good songs?
Guardians.
Yeah.
They
always
played
rock
Heart. Wasn't it Crazy on You that they did?
And, I think they did Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
I'm gonna have to
Dog
look
Days Are Over.
Oh, that's Florence and the Machine.
Oh,
That
that's
was
right, that's
really
right.
nice. I enjoyed that one a lot.
She was all excited. Like, that was been a big thing on Twitter, is how excited she was that they played that song.
In the meantime, Space Hog. Was that what they were doing when they were jumping out of the?
Maybe
That was the trailer. I remember it was the trailer for
It was
sure.
the same in the movie though. Like the song that was playing during the trailer is the one that.
They were all jumping out in the color.
Yeah,
So that was In the Meantime by Space Hog.
that's a fucking great song.
I mean, the selection of music is just always phenomenal with all the Guardians movies. Like they never go wrong with song choices, and I appreciate that so much when a movie or TV show, whatever, can bring both of those together and do it in such an epic way. I know there's even certain movies with like fight scenes and stuff like that where the music kind of makes or breaks it type of
Facts,
thing,
yeah.
and so it's so nice that we get like, it can be these like very serious moments and they're just playing this like boppy jam and you're like jamming as they're shooting
Yeah.
aliens, and it's just great, I love
That's why I
it.
love the beginning of the second movie, and Groot is
When
like,
they're just slaughtering and he's just
and it's
he's
playing.
dancing and they're
it's-
just doing their thing.
Yeah,
It's
Mr.
so
Blue
great.
Sky's playing, and it's like a little bop, so it's like very upbeat, and he's just dancing, and they're behind him, just in a serious battle, like for their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was before he'd grown again, so he was
Yeah,
still.
he was baby Groot.
Okay. Speaking of that,
Oh yeah, I wanted to bring
I-
something up about Groot, but
yeah,
go ahead.
when he says that he loves all of them.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, he
yes.
breaks.
Yes.
Oh
No, yo.
my god.
All right, now hold up. Now I'm glad you brought, because I was getting ready to say it if you weren't. That brought two things to mind. Was it that he actually said it, or was that meant that we as the watchers are starting to
Oh.
understand Groot's
Yeah.
voice from now on? And that could
Or
be
he's learning to talk.
no. I
speak
mean,
English.
like for real, like we were
We-
part of, like we're
Oh.
part of the Guardians, and now because remember, like the same thing happened with
I like
with,
that.
with
I
New
do.
Gamora.
I like
yeah,
that a
she
lot.
like
Very
couldn't
end,
understand him at first, and by the end, she knew what he was saying.
And it shocked her. She was
Well,
like, "Oh
she
shit,
was
I
doing
understood that."
she was
Yeah.
doing the same thing Peter was doing in the first movie.
Yeah, exactly
Like,
the
yeah,
same.
I heard you.
Yeah,
I know who
yeah.
your name is.
So
Yes, I know you're Groot.
I think that would be real dope. Like if they
That
chose to
would
to
be.
use him actually talking in the future, and it's
Yeah,
just
I wanted
now
to-
we can understand.
I
him.
straight up cried when it happened. I was like, oh,
I wanted to bring up something about Groot. In every single movie he has been in,
Mm-hmm.
he has been in a different form. Each
Yeah.
movie is a
That's
different
true. Yeah,
form.
I like how they told him to go kaiju.
Like in
It
That was hilarious.
So great.
Glad you caught that.
Yeah,
in
of course I did.
and then in Infinity War he was like teenage Groot, and then like
Where you just want to punch him in the face
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's like every teenager on
yeah,
the
he's
planet.
like I am Groot. They're like, oh shit, what the like?
Whoa.
His room
Language.
smells.
Language.
He's playing
Language.
video games. Yep, typical teenager.
Yeah, just being a shithead.
I will say, since we're still talking about Groot, this has been the same one since they regrew. They grew.
Well, no, he was different.
He was dead. Yeah, the first one
No,
gave
yeah,
up his
yeah.
life. So we've been seeing the same one, watching him grow.
I think it's the same
Right.
one. He
It's the
just
same
had to
one.
help. It's
Uh-uh.
that's the first one.
James Gunn specifically
He died,
said
and then they
the
grew
first-
a new
they
little
grew a
one.
new
Because
one.
remember,
Yeah, but
this
it's the
new
same
one.
he's all
person.
dancing
Well,
and
yeah, it's
giraffes
the same
is
person.
looking.
No,
Yeah,
no,
he would have the same mind.
no.
Yeah.
The original one died. The baby Groot and the one we've been following since the second film, since they stuck him in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn has specifically said that is a different
guy.
Groot.
That's a different guy altogether.
Yes. That's like his son, because it's from his
Okay.
spawn. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we're thinking it's a tree that it was a
cute.
part of him, but you got
His little Groot
Dude,
2.0.
so you noticed at the very end when they had the new team of Guardians,
right.
and one of them was still Groot, and like, did you see how fucking huge he was?
Yeah, well, they showed it. Yeah, because there's been a, like your shirt, the periodic table of Marvel characters. There has been one that has shown them shown like who are the tallest Marvel characters, the ones that can grow, and it goes like Kamala Khan because she can grow to be
Yep.
building size. We're talking like 13. You know what I mean?
She makes giant fists
Yeah,
too and stuff. Yep.
Then Groot was next. He can be huge, and then there's a whole bunch of Ant-Man, and then it went all the way up to Galactus. So he can Groot. Like we've barely seen what Groot's capable of, and I like that each movie we've been able to see.
Yeah,
his
you
more
get
and
just
more.
a little bit
And-
more. They
but-
don't give you the full reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, like when him and Peter go, and then they get captured.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And but when he had all the arms and each one had a gun,
Gun,
he,
That was
yes.
badass.
That
holding,
was
like- he
amazing.
was holding like 15 guns or some shit.
That
And,
shit
he-
was ill.
and then Peter slipped in and,
And
he like
threw him too.
he threw him a couple. and,
Yeah.
like, that part was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I loved that fucking part. And he kept saying that he had a plan, and it's like, wasn't he saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he did.
And he did. Like you're thinking he's full of shit, but then
He
he,
usually is.
yeah,
That's true.
because it seems like they're just bumbling into a trap.
I
But-
am
No.
I am glad that we will get to see him again, that they told us that like Star-Lord will return. I'm curious to see him kind of as his own character, and also just how Chris Pratt will do by himself and not with everybody else, because I like him.
Did you
I-
see the newspaper?
Yes, I did. Although funny
Kevin
enough,
Bacon reveals all.
Oh yeah,
I did not see the holiday special, but
What?
I know, but I do know.
it's so good.
I
so
know
good.
that Nebula stole Bucky's arm and gave it to Rocket for Christmas, and that Kevin Bacon was like abducted by aliens or whatever.
Well, since you
why
didn't
did
see it, I'm
she
going to
have
tell
a-
you one thing.
That's
and
fine.
This isn't really a spoiler. And for y'all, if y'all haven't seen the Christmas special, go watch it. It's only like 45 minutes.
I
It's
know.
worth it. The music in that is gangster as well. It starts off with a music routine that is awesome. And matter of fact, the lead singer from that rock band, he's on Nowhere. We see him a lot, you know what I mean, in the background on Nowhere. So that was a little.
That's so
a little
helpful.
teaser. But when we were talking about Rocket's power levels, one of my problems with the Guardians is we always got a dumbed down picture of like Gamora, Nebula, and Drax. Like we never really saw their level of strength. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And on the Christmas special, because they came to Earth, they were shooting at him like cops were shooting at him with bullets, and he was laughing because it tickled, and he flipped over a police car
Like with one hand.
yeah,
He's
you know what I
just
mean.
like,
Nice.
So that means that goes to show the power level of the type of cosmic characters they're fighting and how strong they really are. If
and,
they were,
and you know why that is? You got kind of a shitty scale of his power is because every time you saw him fight, he was fighting something that was strong enough to smack him around, like fucking Ronan.
Ronan.
Oh yeah.
And that monster that they're
Yep.
fighting at the beginning of the second one.
Mhm.
So like every other time he'd been getting his ass whooped by like crazy strong fucking beings.
Hulk level beings, yeah.
And so yeah, going to Earth was a good way, like you were saying, to
Measuring his
really
power level.
Right, we got
shows
to
it-
see that.
show him how much stronger he is than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And that's a good skill because then you go, oh holy shit! If somebody shot me,
yeah,
I'd fucking die.
yep.
Right, that's true.
But he's like, oh,
Stop it! I'm gonna pee myself.
And they're like
yeah.
lighting him up.
Yeah.
They're all shooting him. It's a bunch of cops, and he's like, "Oh, quit it."
That sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's funny.
All right, Groot, go back to your
You
daddy.
should go watch it after
Yeah,
this.
it's short,
I
so it's
probably
worth
will.
it. It really is good. Oh my! Wait a minute. Then that means, did you catch? You might not even have caught it with fucking Mantis.
What about her?
What about her? Yeah.
She didn't catch it. Should we tell her? I
What?
mean, they said it in the movie.
What?
About what?
Luke, come here,
That
brother.
she's his brother?
Oh yeah.
Sister.
Sister,
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Well,
that was the big
you
reveal
just
in the
knew
Christmas
that?
special.
oh, okay.
You just knew that, or what?
No, they just said it in the movie, and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. It just went
Oh,
on.
you didn't really
Whatever.
think of much of
Yeah,
it.
No.
that was the big reveal in the Christmas special.
So how is she then? Like, how are they?
She's
is it-
Ego's daughter.
That's kind of what I assumed, and
Yeah,
that's
they're
pretty
both-
much what I figured when I watched this newest movie. I was like, well, didn't Ego like create her or whatever? So I was like, I guess that makes sense, whatever. And I didn't really care.
And it does make sense. I mean,
Yeah.
they are his children. They were
Right,
His
yeah.
offspring.
Anybody could have guessed
So
that.
they probably have even more siblings out there, honestly.
Well, probably not, because if you remember in 2, they
No,
showed
he
all the
killed
dead
them
bodies.
all.
Yeah, he killed them all because they weren't worthy.
But there
Are
could
you
be.
sure there wasn't any that escaped though? We
Well,
don't
that's
know.
true. There could
True.
be others.
Just saying.
There could be others for sure.
They might have other ones out there for future film projects.
But this has been another thing too that I wanted to point out as far as where I think the MCU could actually have its own classification other than 626.
It should be 616.
All right, I think at this point, even though they've hinted at it before, enough stuff has changed where they could have their own designation, like 2099.
Should be a different number.
Yeah,
I
because
agree.
Aunt May's dead now. Fucking Tony's dead now, and like Black Widow's dead now, and like people that will probably never come back. Also, Star-Lord Peter isn't Ego's son. Like he's 100% human in the 616. So there's the ability for them to do, like, I don't get as mad now when shit happens that differently from the comics. You know what I mean?
Well, because they're telling a good story with it. It's not like
I
just,
think it just depends
it's
on
not
how
some-
they do it. If they can do
it's
it.
not like a cobbled
well.
together mess.
Yeah.
It's fucking, you know, we give them I mean, they have to, I think everybody understands they have to take some artistic license with it,
Right.
or everybody's just going to know what's going to happen all the time.
Exactly.
Well, and even look at, and I know we've talked about this and I've mentioned it before, but with the Infinity Saga, his original goals, Thanos for getting the stones and everything is lame in comparison.
Yeah, because he loved death.
Yeah, because he loved Lady Death and just wanted to impress her and throws a bitch fit the whole time because he can't, which is so much more lame than his drive to destroy half the
Yeah.
population in the movie. So I think in certain instances like that, absolutely. Or, I've even done my research where I know there's certain characters where sometimes they kind of just take bits and pieces from different parts
Yondu.
of them over the years, and kind of just make their own little thing of it. And so I don't think it's too bad, when they change them up like that, as long as it's done well. If it's done in a shitty way, obviously, we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
complain
mean,
about
obviously,
it.
if you improve on it and make it better, like the Guardians, it's like nobody knew much about that. I
Mhm.
mean, other than hardcore comic book fans. So
True.
it's like anybody else, we were all just like, huh,
Who is this
that
team
looks
that I've
kinda
never
cool.
heard of? Yeah.
And I was cleaning the movie theaters at that time. That was my job, was to clean all the movie theaters
Right.
downtown.
I remember that.
And I remember when that movie was like coming out and they had the poster up,
Mhm.
coming soon or whatever. And I remember it was them all posed up. And I just thought the aesthetic of it was cool as fuck. I was like, damn, that looks pretty badass. I don't know what, at the time, I'm like, I don't really know what that is, but
I was the
looks like-
same.
it looks like it reminded me of like old school kind of like animes or whatever, like Cowboy Bebop or,
That's a good
you know,
comparison, actually.
even like Outlaw Star or some of those old school 90s animes. So
Mike-
it's like, or even kind of like a Han Solo kind of thing.
Well, and even when I wasn't even like watching all of the Infinity Saga, like the Guardians were always something I watched. Though I was like, I have to see these. I love these ones, and so I'd watch those ones a million times before I even watched all the way through and saw kind of where they, fit into the bigger picture. And that's what I do very much like about those films is they do kind of stand alone, and you can just take Guardians for what they are, and you don't have to worry about the bigger picture, which is also what I think makes them so great. It'd be nice if they could do that throughout the phase where they might all connect, but you can still watch them by themselves and they make sense and you're not like, what the hell is going on kind of thing.
Well, I think we should also bring to the point that this is the second movie in this phase. Quantumania was the first. So anything before that was the end of phase 4. This is only the second movie in Phase 5, and I think
It's the best one in Phase 5 so far.
there's only been 2, but I mean, in comparison with Ant-Man, I think we would all say it was better.
Ant-Man was
Oh,
good,
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Ant-Man-
Ant-Man was good.
Ant-Man
There's no
was
denying that was a
good.
good movie.
It was good as far as, like bringing Kang in, and I feel like we'll definitely get more of that with Loki. I think that will probably be the turning point for the MCU as far as like Kang goes, maybe. I think that's when we'll start getting more of that bigger picture and like, oh, this is kind of where we're going with it versus just all of his variants right now. And
So do you think that Jonathan Majors is going to get canceled?
No.
probably not. And the thing is, I mean, with all the shit going, I mean, who knows? He could have not.
My
well,
theory
hold on.
is
Vince says, do you notice that they had to add a new cute new baby alien to sell toys to make up for the baby Groot?
Oh yeah, the little furry shit thingy.
The
that,
rabbit?
that Warlock is
you said the Chewbacca octopus.
Chewbactopus.
Chewbactopus, yes.
Oh, the fucking weird thing that
Yeah.
Gamora grabbed. She's like, I'll kill this fucking weird thing. if
Yeah.
you don't-" Like,
That was Adam Warlock's
yeah.
little baby.
And
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say like his little baby.
He
kinda
killed
thing.
somebody
He
to.
killed its owner.
Yeah, I forgot who the owner was.
I
It was
can't
just
remember
it
either.
was-
I don't either. And then he just
was a
took this
punchline,
little
really.
furry.
Yeah,
Because
thingy.
he wasn't supposed to kill him.
It's.
Yeah.
I was wondering what the fuck
Oh, yeah.
you were talking about, the Chewbacca thing.
No,
was like, what
that's
is
not
she
it
ta-
though. It's this big monster.
That had octopus. Yeah,
They had
th-
like octopus
yeah.
legs.
She wasn't
and
talking
it was
about
also,
the little furry
It
thing.
was also furry, and he even looked like he had kind of like the whatever Chewbacca has
Was it
like
one of
across his
the?
chest.
Was it one of those robot or the cyborg things?
It was just one of that dude's weird fucking creations of creatures. I don't know.
Oh,
Sid.
okay.
He's the Sid from Toy Story and the Land of Misfit Toys. You know how Sid from Toy Story
Oh, yeah.
the original had all the toys that were all
Right.
molded
Dude, the
together. Same
fucking-
thing with
The
animals.
fucking rabbit.
Yeah,
I mean, that thing was fucking terrifying. If you saw that,
the spider
with the no
legs.
teeth. I knew something. Who was it that was saying it? Was that Mary that said if it hadn't had that cute voice, she probably would have had nightmares?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
is.
thing was
It is like
pretty-
something out of Hellraiser or something.
Yeah.
They're pretty horrifying. Like even I love otters, and it's weird the like metal arms and shit. I was like, ugh, I'm like they're cute, but like, ugh, it made it a little creepy for me.
named- Named it Floor.
Their
Floor.
names,
that was
I
the
know.
rabbit. Yeah.
The rabbit was Floor, and then Teefs.
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Floor,
The
Teefs,
wa-
Lila, and Rocket.
The
of course,
walrus.
in the books or in
Lila's a
the comic books
rocket.
though, isn't it
A raccoon, my bad.
isn't it like Rabbit like
She was like
O'Hare?
a-
Like they have different names to them and they're not as like Hellraiser looking in
Wasn't
the comics.
she a raccoon too?
Yeah, and she doesn't die. That's his girlfriend in the comics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even she was fucking terrifying.
That's
like
what she
so
was saying.
with the fucking metal arms and legs.
I love otters and
But
it
that
ruined it.
voice.
It just ruined it a little bit for me with those metal arms.
And then it was like Voldemort and Harry Potter at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All like the whitewashed scenes in the
Oh, yeah.
afterworld when he was.
That part was good though, dude.
Yeah, it was. I was like,
Dude, when he's like, "Oh, can I go with you?" and she's like, "Yeah," and then you're like, "Oh, no!"
I
know.
And then
There were about three
But-
times we
and they-
thought a main character was going to die, and then
That's
they
true.
didn't.
and they drop, perfect timing. They're like, then she's like, "But not yet." You know what I mean? After they give it a minute for everybody
and
to
you're
be
like,
like,
Because I thought he was going to the light.
Yeah,
I
and-
thought he was
Same.
going to the
she's
light.
like, "You still got stuff to do," and I was like,
I know. You're like, oh, I can breathe.
They're like, "Oh, I got like that meme of Robert Downey Jr." But it's always like when you think you run over a dog, but it's just a person. He's like, oh, geez.
For any police watching, he's just joking.
No,
Is he,
I said
though?
it was a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was good as fuck though, and I was like I was fucking crying. I'm not gonna lie.
I was about to. If he would have died, I would
I
have.
totally
the tears
cried
were
through the
there,
whole
but as soon
movie.
as he was alive, I was like, oh, thank goodness.
Oh,
and the same thing when
when Rocket
Quill almost froze, and then
Oh,
when
yeah.
and when Lila got
Dude,
shot.
I was like, these motherfuckers better
yeah,
not be killing Quill, okay? Like I was pissed
when all
for a minute.
when all Rocket's friends got gunned down, I
Yeah.
was like, "What in the fuck? This movie is messed
I
up."
love when he
Yeah.
saved all the little baby raccoons, though, and he just.
Oh,
So
we-
we
And he
can't-
finds out he's an actually raccoon.
We
I
can't.
know.
that was the first time
Yeah,
he
he
actually calls
actually-
himself Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
And the entire time.
Yeah,
he's
the
been
whole
in the
time he's like,
MCU.
I'm not a raccoon. It's like, well, you are.
You are.
Oh, yeah,
I saw a
'cause he-
video where it's like this is the first time where it wasn't used as a derogatory term.
Mhm.
Yep.
That it was this is who I am,
Mm-hmm.
not just somebody. Oh, you're just a raccoon. It's like well, I'm not a raccoon. You know,
Trash
he-
Panda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
trash panda.
Is that a
Well, he
compliment?
didn't know what a
So much
raccoon
worse.
was though.
No, yeah.
No, he didn't.
Nope.
So he's like, "Oh
by,
shit."
by the way, you got to look at all of the other images, promotional images that are coming around Twitter or on like Instagram. They've got all like the raccoons playing with each other, or
Yeah.
a lot of those just little bits. So that's worth diving into if you like that.
I would agree.
And so they what was another fucking badass part was when they were flying nowhere. So they had turned this old head into a ship and then the
Yep.
cannon out of the eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like that part was dope as hell.
That was
one of
pretty
my
cool.
favorite characters was Cosmo.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
dog.
yeah.
Oh yes, we
The
knew
Russian
by,
dog.
The Russian
we knew by
dog.
the end that she was gonna
Yeah,
be
he
a
kept
good dog.
calling her a bad dog.
You're a bad dog, and she was like so adamant that
And she's
like,
like, I'm a good dog.
Take it back. Take it back.
You have to take it
you
back.
have to, and she wouldn't let it go. It's just like a dog obsessed with finding a bone.
Right.
Yep, exactly. And
And
I
she
loved
has-
at the very end that he called her a good dog. I mean, we knew that was gonna happen, right? But it
Yeah.
still was just very nice.
And it was a really badass mood with their
Speaking of, we haven't
telekinesis.
talked about.
What is his name?
Well, it's a Sean Gunn, Seth Gunn. It's James Gunn's little brother.
Yeah.
But he finally, for the first time, got Yondu's fin to work,
Yeah.
and he kicked ass with it. Finally,
It was awesome. Yeah, that was really great to see.
talking about a redemption,
Dude, well,
His name is Kraglin.
Kraglin,
Yeah.
yes,
and to see him, doing the same thing as Yondu and like carrying the torch, so to
Mhm.
speak.
Exactly.
I mean, that shit, I always thought that was going to be cool as fuck.
But
As soon
did
as
you
I
expect it to happen in 2 and then it didn't happen?
Yeah, it
You're
didn't
like,
happen.
oh. So I'm glad. It was again closing. Showing
Yeah,
the
he
close.
did a really good job of wrapping everything up.
He did in, 2.5 hours,
Mm-hmm.
and thankfully it didn't have to be like a 3.5 hour thing. Like
But
he's
it went
able-
fast. Some of the other movies that have been
Yeah.
2.5 hours, there were parts that I
It
think
didn't
coulda
feel
cut.
rushed.
Yeah.
What about Gamora and Nebula's like hello?
They're-
Oh, yeah.
I love it that they just grunted each
I
other.
bet if you analyze that sound, there's something else like some other kind of animal sound mixed with it. Just-
Probably.
but
love that.
it was still.
I did too.
That was kind of hot to me. I don't know why. The two alien chicks grunting at each other. I was like, yeah, baby. Grunt this way.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So anyway,
Sorry, I went
And
my
now
own
for
mind there for a
something-
second.
Yeah,
I
so
was too. I'm
anyway.
like,
Sean likes alien grunts, apparently.
Hey, I think they're both hot in real life. What
yeah,
am I-
they are.
They are, but it's so weird when I see the gal that plays Nebula, like outside of the makeup. Like I know what she looks like, but I'm like, it doesn't compute.
Oh
Like,
yeah, Chelsea.
Yes.
We did an episode of Dragging These Balls on Sunday,
Mhm.
and then you and Vince went to the movie like immediately after.
Yeah,
that.
we did.
And you messaged because like I was like, I don't know if you're gonna like it or not. Like because
Mhm.
I've thought you would like movies before, and then you like hate it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I have.
And I'm like,
I have weird taste.
So I was like, I literally had no idea what you would think. Like, I thought, but it was obviously one way or the other. You were either going to hate it or you were going to absolutely love it. So I'm like glad you like it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Honestly, it was everything that I wanted as far as like cast. Even having like Nathan Fillion in it was great, and the story, music, all of it. Just I thought it was all done very well, and I'm very happy with how they wrapped up Guardians.
Yeah, it was good. The whole thing. And I also love that it is obviously the end of James Gunn's Guardians. but
Yes.
that didn't mean
But it's the end of the Guardian.
It's
Right.
They actually left us with a new team, and that's fucking
Yeah.
really good.
Yo,
And
does anybody know who that little
because-
girl is? I forgot to look that up.
Oh no,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't.
No,
Yeah,
I
didn't.
don't. I
She's
did
got to
not.
have some kind of telepathic.
You know,
powers or
I meant to do more research on it, but most of the time I don't see the movie like 2 days before we do this, so I didn't have much time to look up all the things.
Right. I'm looking it up now because I want to know.
Yeah, I wanted to know too because you didn't get to see her powers at all.
Uh-uh.
So, are there any other really pivotal or awesome moments, favorites from either of you two that you can think of?
I think, dude, just the whole thing was great. I
Yeah.
thought from beginning to end it was good, consistently the whole time. I didn't get bored anywhere.
Same.
I
I didn't
didn't
find
fi-
myself like zoning out
It like kept you in, and like
yes.
it's very consistently good the whole time. So I can't really, I can pick out fun, like great moments for sure. You know, like the whole Drax thing when they're locked up in the high evolutionary ship, and they're talking to those little girls, and like,
Oh yeah, and
and he's like, they're like
a
trying,
different side of
and he-
Drax. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He
not
knew their
only
language.
that, but he knew how to fucking speak their language the whole time.
And they're
And
like,
he-
you knew? And
and
he's
he-
like, you didn't ask.
And
You didn't ask me.
let
But that
them-
that was big because that was after they had called him stupid. and
Stupid
she
so
made
many
him-
times. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And we got to see how deep his character was.
Well, and it also
There was so much growth of all the
but,
characters.
but how he let them struggle.
I know.
That's just the way he is,
He
yo.
let them struggle, and then
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, but he has always been literal as fuck. Oh, you didn't ask me if I knew."
yeah.
That's his,
Right,
that's,
like-
that's part of his
He's
alien
not even being a
DNA.
dick. He's not even being a dick. He's just like,
Right, that's just how
That's
he's
him.
programmed. That's how he's wired to
or-
be.
or when he kept putting his feet up on the couch,
I know.
He's like, that's what it's for.
he keeps trying to lay down.
And,
They're like,
I know. They're like, stop, you know, and like he's constantly like trying to like just,
Lay down.
he is so fucking funny, dude.
he's
all
hilarious.
right,
I
now-
love him.
I think we talked about it slightly. So like the high evolutionary, one of his big things was messing with even like mutant DNA on Earth. Now in this film, you know, they kept it with him fucking around with space and
Animals.
making an alternate Earth, animals and all that. But in the comics, he had a hand in the creation of Magneto's kids, Wanda
Okay.
and Quicksilver, i.e., why Quicksilver has that silver hair like that. You know what I mean?
I didn't
And
know that.
technically, they're not mutants; they're mutates because he gave them their power. It's not like they were born with it. You know what I mean?
So he
Um,
was like
Manipulating their DNA, more or
experimenting
less.
with mutants.
Which is why I think all of those kids they showed them with having that grayish silver hair like Quicksilver has. Well, anyway, I looked up that girl, the gray-haired girl that ends up on the team. She's one of Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel, not the girl, but in the comics, there were a lot of people that had the Captain Marvel
Yep.
Okay.
mantle,
What's
and
their powers then?
basically the same.
Yeah,
as
but
the-
I know
as
who
the
you're talking
chick.
about, the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of a rogue type character.
She's just like another member of the original the Marvel, the alien that died and gave her the gauntlets and whatever.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's.
So it's
and-
not.
but
It's,
she was one of the, the same race as the girls that were all locked up on the ship, though. Too.
yeah.
So then
But-
she'll be in the Marvels coming up.
maybe
She might make
Or a
it into
cameo?
she might make a cameo.
She could if they tie it into that.
Mhm.
Maybe they don't though. Maybe
Well,
she.
with them grabbing every young character, I think,
Yeah, it might be a
It's
good
possible,
move.
yeah.
Could be a good move.
especially then she can age into it with the next role.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean they kind of found out, even though Robert Downey Jr. and those guys were great, they signed on. Some of them in their 40s and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's like,
true.
You only got about 10 years that you can do this. And
Unless you're fucking what's the dude who plays Ant-Man? Paul Rudd was 50.
All red.
oh yeah, well,
Look
and-
what he did.
Hey, you know what? My boy Jeffrey Dean Morgan is going to be in The Boys, and he's in his early 60s now, and he still looks good. Okay, so
Yeah, let's just say we as a species we know more about how to stay healthy and look healthy longer. We're not dying at 37 anymore. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
can
well,
look good.
totally. These guys could, but to keep interest in it for more than, you're just gonna keep playing a superhero the rest.
Well,
of
I
your
don't
life?
think I don't think any of them because Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and Chris Pratt, the Chris's, they were all 10 years younger than Robert Downey Jr. was, but
Mhm.
they've still been doing it for 10 years before they decided, okay, I want to do
Now they're
something else.
fucking
well,
40
yeah,
and
because
shit.
I even wonder how long like Tom Hiddleston will choose to play Loki. Is will this be his last season? Is he gonna because he's not getting any younger either. You know, he started, I think, when he was like 30, and
30.
now he's in his 40s. And so it's like,
uh,
what are you going to do with
Well,
Loki, who
and
now is
how-
like in his 20s in the comics kind of thing?
how young is or how old or whatever, whichever you want. But Doctor Strange, how old is Benedict
He's like
Cumbersnatch?
45.
Yeah, say he's got to be in his 40s.
No, is he?
Yes.
He
Yes.
looked
I thought he
old.
Okay, let's
like when you
see.
looked at when he was at the movie
He looked
premiere,
50.
he looked old.
He looks 50.
But but same thing with the chick that plays Wasp. If you saw her at all the promotional
He's
shit,
46.
yeah.
I never
thank
call
you.
him by his like real name though. I call
All
him
right,
by
well,
naughty one, so
he
it's hard to Google it.
But the chick that plays Wasp, she was in Lost.
Yeah.
I always forget her real name.
What's her
Evangeline.
Evangeline Lilly?
Yeah,
Is it?
Yes.
she looks old as shit. Like, and she's the same. You know what I mean? Her hair
Well,
was like she.
Well, that's the thing
on,
with
I got
Hollywood is men have
old as
a
shit.
better run as they're older, whereas
Facts.
women
She's only
have it in the very
43.
young.
but she looks old. She looks like she's 53.
A little bit.
Who? Let me see.
Not in the film, the Wasp.
Is she? How old is she?
She's only 43.
43.
I'm just saying, yo, people age
think,
differently.
I think that's why she didn't get a lot of screen time.
Possibility.
I mean,
She's still hot.
You should have seen her at the promotional stuff. I'm not saying she's not hot,
Oh,
and I
yeah,
would
she's-
definitely not kick her out of bed for eating crackers or cookies, however that goes. I don't know.
Crackers.
But she was way hotter in Lost.
Oh well, hell yeah. Oh.
She was
Ooh.
so fine in that show.
Oh. But I'm just saying,
We're
like,
all
I
dead.
think she might have been trying to. I think she was trying to make a statement too, like when she
She
was
was
going.
wearing the suits and shit.
Well, yeah,
like a
because
tuxedo.
she had her hair short and was rocking all of her gray hair and stuff like that. Wasn't heavily made up, and I get it. You know what I mean? All power to the people. You know what I mean? To the ladies. But
Yeah, that could be why she didn't get a lot of screen time in Ant-Man and
which
the
is
Wasp.
which is kind of
the
effed up,
movie's called Ant-Man and the Wasp.
and she's
And
barely
she's
in it.
fucking barely in it and all two-dimensional as fuck.
storyline too.
What?
Even the storyline, she wasn't even like
Oh yeah, she wasn't.
it. Wouldn't
She
if she
could've-
was
she-
not
She could have
in the
not
movie.
been in the
it would've
movie,
been
and
fine.
we would have been
Yeah.
fine.
it would have kept going
It
without
wouldn't
her.
have made a difference.
There would
Yeah.
have been a lot less.
It was
bitching.
mainly about Scott and his daughter, honestly.
Mhm.
Like,
The only thing
Yeah.
that would have changed is there would have been a lot less bitching. You know what I mean? Happening.
Right?
and less of this arm
Yep.
shooting.
Yep.
yep.
Pew,
That's
pew.
hilarious. That had to piss her off.
I think it might. I think it actually
your
might have been her
character's-
choice.
Your
honestly.
character's name is in the fucking title, and you're barely a part of the.
And maybe she got paid.
Yeah.
May-
Oh, I guarantee she got
that-
top billing, so
Oh,
she
yeah.
got paid regardless. But that's what I'm saying. I
Or
think
paid the
her involvement
premium.
might have been her choice.
That was still a good movie, though.
Oh yeah, we're not
It
saying
was
it
good.
wasn't.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying it was just a good movie.
But I do want to say this has restored my. Not that I was losing faith anyway, because I'm right
We
or
were
die.
a little bit.
I know you guys were. I wasn't. But it's nice to see second movie in and it's gone better. So if the
Most
third movie,
definitely.
if it gets better too, then
So I
my,
wouldn't
what's
say
the
I was
next movie?
hating. I will be and always have been critical. And I think
Same.
honestly, I liked Ant-Man better.
What?
I mean, not that than Guardians.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
because of that connective tissue, that the sense of it's
Oh,
something bigger.
Okay.
And I think that really, just like comic books, kind of are what getting me on the edge. All right, what's next? What's next?
Right.
Whereas this was great because it was a good conclusion, a good wrap up. But it's like, okay, oh well, what next? We get the what's the next holiday? We get Kevin Bacon's tell all story.
right.
That shit, dude. I hope they do like him on TV at some point. Like,
Just like somebody's watching,
like
he's on
crying.
Yeah.
in the background.
he's like crying, talking to Oprah. You know what I mean? That would be.
It won't be Oprah. If they can get Oprah, boy, that's the Marvel has gone all the way with that Disney money.
Trevor Noah.
They could.
That would be the shit. Actually,
They could get fucking Oprah.
Trevor Noah was the voice to Riri's AI, or not Riri's, Shuri's AI.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So there you go. He's already part of the MCU.
Yes, Trevor Noah is already part of the MCU.
There's Trevor Noah.
He did the Tonight Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
He's a stand-up comedian, black guy. He's from Africa.
Okay.
Really nice looking, light skinned dude.
What was he in?
Oh my goodness. Stand up.
It's more
We'll just
comedian.
Google him for you.
No, I'm saying. Oh, you're saying he was just the voice of the.
Yeah.
Okay,
He was Shuri's AI.
I got you.
So I don't
was
think
the
he's
voice.
been an actor. At least it's
Yeah, he's been in some stuff here or there, but
usually like
Okay,
Yep.
yeah, he took
I've seen him
he
before.
took over the Tonight Show from Daly. What was his name? Carson. Was it Carson Daly? Whoever
No.
it was. Well, I don't remember. Whatever that show was, he took it over and he had it for like 6
Jon
years.
Stewart.
Jon Stewart. Thank you.
Yeah,
Jon Stewart's fucking smart dude.
Yeah, he is. So is Trevor Noah.
there might have been somebody in between that failed, but or was it?
No, it was always him. That was his big thing. I'm a big fan of Trevor Noah. That man, he cracks me up just the things for him not being American, you know what I mean, and being an adult before he came here. Like his thought process is hilarious, and I just love.
Is there any kind of talk about what happens with like Vision at all?
Not yet, but
I'm super curious
Yeah, I'm
about that.
curious.
Yeah, I mean,
though.
what's gonna happen there? Is he gonna
well, I have a theory.
Did
They-
he even
they-
exist though?
What?
Did he?
Well, that one version.
There's
the
two of
white
them.
version, the white.
Yeah, the white one. Yeah.
So he kind of manifested and then kind of flew off,
He
right?
flew
Yeah.
off.
Yep.
I know we're getting Wonder Man. I'm not for sure if he's getting his own show. So there's a lot of the stuff we've been seeing in the Disney
Wonder
Plus
Man,
TV shows
That's crazy.
were Avengers West Coast. So Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, War Machine, U.S. Agent. Like a lot of the new characters we're seeing are Avengers West Coast characters. I know they've already cast somebody to be Wonder Man. I know Vision originally, his personality was based off Wonder Man. So I don't know if they're going to possibly switch that.
Yeah, wasn't his mind was put in the body, and that's when he changed color.
It was his memories more or less, but it wasn't him. It was the computer generated memories. You know what I mean?
Right, created a personality out of those memories. That's pretty cool.
But I'm looking forward to that because Wonder Man's been always one of my favorite characters, and I've always wanted to see him on the screen, and that would have been hard to have done before. And I think they can do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
They can do anything they want to do.
I also, and I keep saying this since they've killed off or disappeared so many of the original Avengers cast that we're used to. Are we going to get an Avengers West Coast? And I am crossing my fingers.
I know. Well, that would be. I mean, you have U.S. Agent and like
Hawkeye,
what
Scarlet Witch.
They're gonna be a part of. What the fuck is the show that you wanted?
I know, fucking with the Rocks team.
Yeah,
Oops,
Thunderbolts.
Because that's on
I
the
think
that's
that's
on the
what-
slate.
for
Yep.
this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what that'll be, and hopefully we get more. Because I want to see U.S. Agent again.
He'll be in that.
mean,
He has
I do
to.
too.
Yeah,
I think he played
Bucky, Ghost.
Juliet Dreyfus.
Yep, and Yelena
I think he played that character really well. Like,
flawlessly.
Yeah, it was
you
great.
didn't like. I don't know. He was one of those kind of relatable characters that, I mean, you get why he loses his shit a little bit. Yeah, because they made a point in the first one by selecting Steve Rogers. Like
Mhm.
the
Those are
dude
big
was,
shoes to fill.
yeah, the dude was very careful when he picked who to give the serum to because it boosts your personality traits.
The good and the bad. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, and it's a lot of pressure too, trying to fill those shoes. So of course he fucking lost his shit, and he's like, "I'm not good enough." Well, but
Well, him,
mean-
and losing so many
yeah,
times.
and getting his ass
Yep.
whooped by
the Dodge Malari,
yeah. He's like, they're not even.
super soldiers.
And they beat his fucking ass.
And that was already like his second major loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he had already lost a couple times. So yeah. But I think they really did a good job in picking him and showing him because U.S. Agent in the comics he had been a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? He'd been a good guy. Like that shit had fucked with his mind so much. I like that they're already throwing that in the mythos, and it's like,
Dude, like we were saying before, every single movie in the Captain America series
and the TV show.
and the TV show
Mhm.
are all fucking good. Like that is the only series.
They are. They're amazing.
Dude, and that
And
show is
and
fucking-
Winter Soldier Falcon too. I
Yeah,
think
we
it
were-
could-
yeah, we were including that one.
including
Yeah.
yeah.
it just when Battlestar wasn't that his
Yep.
but
Black
when,
dude.
when
Oh.
he fucking died,
Oh,
you just like, oh, what the fuck, man.
Oh, not to mention Red Guardian
Oh
from
yeah.
Thunderbolts. Vincent popped in.
Red Guardian, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the delay's killing us. We can't. Never mind.
Yeah. But
Squirrel.
who's Red Guardian?
He was
the Russian Captain America. Black
Oh,
Widow's
yeah, yeah.
the
dead.
guy from
David Harbour.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in the
Yeah.
Black Widow
I
movie.
love
Mhm.
him.
and Stranger Things.
Mhm.
I hope
And
we
he
get
was
more of
Hellboy.
him.
Yeah, he was.
He was the
Oh,
last
yeah, that's
Hellboy.
right.
Yeah, he was.
And he did that's another film kind of like Dread that it was way
Really
better
good.
than what the critics gave
The
it.
other, but the other Hellboy movies are great too.
Well, yeah, but it's Ron Perlman.
I was saying
you
you're
know
talking
what I
about
mean?
Ron Perlman.
But Ron Perlman
Yeah,
gave him the
I'm
the
kinda
green
meh
light.
about those. To
I
be
love
honest,
those
but-
movies. I
And
love.
so
them.
do-
so does my hubs.
They
He
were
loves
bad.
those
Like I love
movies,
Ron
too.
Perlman, you know what I'm saying? But in comparison, I think the new film was better.
Oh well, sure. It's probably more accurate. Just like
I know
that.
people that wouldn't even sit through the whole thing.
The new one?
Yeah, they were like, nope.
Because but see there we go again. But you know what I mean? You know how I
People
feel
being
about
haters.
yeah. Come on, man. You can still love somebody and still love it when it passes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it passed on because they're not making another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not for a while.
So like the new Evil Dead.
That's what sucked about. Like he brought up the Dread movie. That have you seen the new one?
No.
Who's playing him?
Carl Urban,
Yeah, same dude that.
who's going to be Johnny Cage in the new Mortal Kombat.
That's
He is?
Mhm.
I didn't know that.
so he was Dread in a like
Love him.
in the newest like Dread movie.
Oh, I probably wouldn't watch those.
That movie is fucking great.
But I was
I'm
reading
ready
it,
for Mortal
in the
Kombat,
same
though.
thing. In the same thing, I was reading because this just came out like Friday or Saturday that he was playing Johnny Cage, and they started listing off a lot of the films that Carl Urban was in before. I've forgotten his first major Hollywood role was Ghost Ship. That's my favorite horror flick, and I forgot
Was he
he
in
was
that?
in that. Yeah,
I always think of him in Lord of the Rings. That's where I always remember
yeah.
him
I
from.
forgot he was in
honestly.
Lord of the Rings.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I knew he was Bones. You know what I mean? He was in
He's in a
he's in,
lot of
uh,
bad
Shrek.
shit.
He was in
The Boys.
the Bourne Identity movies. He was one of the
He was in one.
He was in, was it just one of them?
Just one.
Yeah, he was an agent in one of them.
Was
I
he?
love him in The Boys. That's
Mm-hmm.
but I love roles like that where actors can say, do whatever they want. Like they have that freedom.
He
to
was
be
in Doom with The
filthy.
Rock too. The fucking video game movie.
Oh, okay.
He's in all kinds.
I
of shit.
love Carl Urban.
He is
He's
badass.
a fave of mine. So
And,
that's
he's
super
someone that
exciting.
has played a wide range of characters. So I
He
like
has
that.
most definitely. Yep.
Dude, yeah, he is badass. Like just in The Boys. If you would only seen him in that movie, you'd be like, "Oh, this dude's."
the TV show. But yeah,
Yeah, you would
Yep,
if you'd
he's
only
great.
if you
but
only
he is
saw
so
him in that,
more. He's so more dimension. Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
glad. Like I'd seen him in all action movies just about, except for him playing. When I found out he was playing Bones in Star Trek, I was like,
I
he
love
pulled
him
off
as
that
Bones.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said he liked that because that was his first chance to really use his comedy chops because all his other parts have been serious or fighting or back. Even though you know what I
tough
mean?
guy.
Yeah.
That's true. I was gonna say even Lord of the Rings, he's a very serious character in that. You know, he's royalty. You know, he's one of the writers of Rohan, kind of thing. You know, but I will always forever think of him in that. But I'm also
Well, I haven't seen those
Hardcore.
movies since they came out. I watched all three of them in one day. You know what I mean? That's a lot of Lord of the Rings for
I
one day.
watch,
That's 9 hours.
I probably watch those movies probably like once every like 2 or 3 months or so. All three of them. I
See,
work from
that's
home.
me in The Matrix.
So I
Isn't there 4?
Yeah.
No,
no.
That's-
There is
Isn't Return of the King in 2 parts?
no.
no.
That's the
There's-
end of Harry Potter.
Yeah, you're thinking of Harry Potter. Lord of the Rings has
Star-
they have the Fellowship.
Alright.
But you have the Hobbit movies.
That's
though.
the,
They have 3 of the Hobbit movies, so we don't talk about those.
we
I
don't
like 'em.
talk about
I haven't
The
seen 'em.
Hobbit.
No. Mm-mm.
I like those movies.
Unless it's
You
the
didn't read it
animated
then,
one.
did you?
Yeah, I did.
Unless it's the animated one
And
from
you
the
s-
70s.
I love that one. That's my favorite. Love it. It is my fave.
Mm.
Yep. Mhm.
See, I will say the Lord of the Rings almost ruined me from watching Game of Thrones. That's what took me so long. You know what I mean? Because I went through my
Game of
fantasy
Thrones
phase.
killing Pedro is what made me stop watching.
Oh, that shit was-
That's what made me start.
Yeah, that shit was so
That's why
gangster.
I
'cause
stopped.
you thought he was.
Literally,
Yeah, there were so many times like, oh, he's gonna win. He's gonna. Oh,
No, they killed him,
I
and I
saw
was
that.
like, nope,
I
fuck
saw-
this, I'm out.
I saw that scene on Facebook. Like somebody just posted a clip of them fighting and then
that
him
was a dick
dying.
move if somebody posted that.
And,
though.
well, I know, but it's what got me watching it though. I was
If
like,
that works.
I was like, damn, if this is what's going on, I'm watching this.
And that's what was going on always.
Because he fucking smashed his melon.
All right,
Oh, he
well, we
crushed
kinda
his
got
pretty
off
face.
of
Yeah, we
Guardians.
did. Whoops.
But I think we had said just about everything.
I
you
think
know.
so too, honestly. I mean, we really had no criticisms about it at all. I think we all loved it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it kind of hit all the bases. It closed everything up nicely. It left some doors open for.
It did. It was a
future
nice kind of
shit.
in betweener,
Mhm.
you know, like this is just a good film. It's enjoyable. We don't have to worry about the rest that's going on with
And
the
now we don't have to worry
multiverse.
about somebody taking that team and fucking it up. what I mean?
Exactly. It's like they are done. Now we can move on to a new team, which I'm super excited about.
think, yeah,
I
that's
can't wait to
exciting.
see what they'll do with that. And now it's nice that we can move on in a less depressing way than fucking Infinity War and all that shit.
Yeah, and it wasn't depressing like
At all.
It was
No,
like,
not
the
at
end of
all.
it was very like wholesome.
It
in a
was.
way.
It was
The
great.
end wasn't.
What?
The beginning and the middle was depressing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Like I said, I cried
It
through
is
that
a
whole
fun,
thing.
dude. If you think about what they're doing, like, so this is supposed to be for kids too, remember? But then they're like,
What is it rated?
they're fucking gunning down.
PG-13. You
Is it
can get away with
PG-13?
2 fucks
You know, that's kind of
in a
what
film before they make it
I
rated
thought
R.
Not
before it
that-
was.
I'm
I
not
thought it
even
was just
talking-
It used
one
to be
before,
1.
yeah.
It's
I'm
been
not-
2 since like 2015.
I'm not even talking about the fucks, even though they were well placed and awesome.
Yeah, they were.
The one.
The one,
The one,
yeah.
but it was still great.
but just the way that they gunned down his friends. I mean, like that part, and just them, because that rabbit was terrifying.
And it was
you
a-
know what I mean?
See,
And it was a
and-
cutaway shot too. You saw the gunfire, and then it had rocket, and then it cut to them.
Yeah, he
already.
looked, he
yeah.
It
let
wasn't like you saw.
them get
but
blasted.
Yeah.
still, I
But
wish.
still, it's
That
fucked
doesn't.
up.
I wish
doesn't-
they could have done that for Thor though, where they still kept in some of the dark elements.
No.
But you know, because like with Thor, they made it so childish with gore, and I liked that with
Yeah.
Guardians, they could still make it like kid friendly, but still cater to us adults who want a little bit more. And it was enough that I could like not bitch about it. You know, I'm like, okay, this isn't super childish. Like this is still some
That's
pretty
what I would-
serious
that-
like
okay, that's-
subject matter.
That's kind of what I wanted to know when I was like, why you liked it and you didn't like, you know what I mean, some other ones. And that's a pretty good answer.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
where you
it's
just-
true. It's they did a good job of being able to keep it adult for us, but still childlike. You know, in certain ways, but not completely dumb it down like they did with Thor, where they turn such a
Or wh-
serious character and everything
he-
into something so dumb.
He wasn't afraid to go dark, and then like he kind of took you on a roller coaster in this movie.
Yeah,
Because
you felt all the
'cause
emotions through the
there's
whole
all
thing.
the comedy, but then you hit those parts where it's
serious parts.
you
yeah.
know when
I
they
know, I'm laughing, and then
when
they're
they-
like animals in cages, and I'm like, ah.
and then they're throwing Rocket in after all his surgeries and shit, and he's
Yep.
like hurts, and you're like, oh buddy, and you want to just like
You're like, I'm gonna go into the woods and find 20 raccoons
he
that
was-
have
Y'all
lost
will.
their
I'm scared.
mom.
he wasn't
Shitless of
afraid.
raccoons.
He wasn't afraid to
There's
go.
Are you scared of the ones that work in the trash can?
Yes.
I was just about to mention that.
Fuck,
It was
yo.
funny. Was it you
We
and
literally
Ian?
have trash pandas
There
in
was
our
one that
office.
was in there, and I was like trying to grab like a box or something. Like, oh, come on, little guy, and he goes. This like nasty hiss, and like all
Yeah.
three of us like jump back. Whoa!
Yes,
And
you
then we get them a lot because of our, you know what I mean? The sewer is like right there on the outside.
the
I
river.
have photos on my phone. I will show you. They legit are in our dumpster at work. I've seen like 2 or 3 of them just chilling in there.
fall
And,
in
and it's
there
not
get
bad
stuck.
when it's daylight, but when you get at work, it's like 5:30 in the morning and it's dark and you're hearing something rumbling around in the trash. It's like, I'll walk all the way around the building. You know what I mean?
Well, you've seen what they can do. He ripped that dude's face off.
Oh, man.
Oh, so good.
That's what I mean. He wasn't afraid to go dark and a little bit like gory and
It was
spot.
very.
But they didn't even have to show it. Like, you knew what was
Yeah.
happening. You know what I mean? There
It
wasn't a
was
whole bunch of
very,
blood on the screen.
Joker-esque of Death in the Family, you know, or
Yeah.
Death of the Family,
Yep.
where he steals his face back and has it like
Mhm.
safety pinned on. That's what it made me think
That
of.
was a
and
really
I-
good effect, too. I don't know how they
It
did
was
that.
really good. I appreciated that too. I was
Yeah.
like, this looks creepy and like just
It looked
his
fucked up.
face
And-
all huh.
I mean, even that part when Rocket attacks him, and you know he's like clawing his face up, right? But you weren't really sure how bad it was because they didn't actually show him scratching his face.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then we got to see it at the end when
But
he
it-
ripped his face
but
off.
then you see at the end, and he looked like the Red Skull, but
yeah.
Yeah, he totally
he literally tore his face off.
Yeah, he literally took all that skin off his
eyeball.
face.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
shit
it
was
was.
fucked up. Yeah, he looked like Red Skull. That was a good
Yeah.
one.
See, and I appreciated that though. It's like we didn't have to see the full shebang of him fucking his face up, but we got to see that end result. Like we got so much more with this than, I mean, I know I keep comparing it to Thor, but like
It's a
I
good
said,
comparison of
it
what
is though
Thor should have
because
been.
yes, because James Gunn did it well. He could do it adulty, he could do it childlike, he can make you feel all the emotions, whereas, you know, like with Thor, they just made it. They dumbed it down
I
the
am
whole
I am
time.
going to be the devil's advocate on
Have
here.
you read The God Butcher?
Yes, finally I did. And I get what you're saying, but more than that, you can't compare fucking James Gunn and Taika Waititi. They're two very different directors. And by you should, first of all, after seeing Ragnarok, you should have gone in knowing how
Ragnarok is one of the best movies in the MCU.
but but it's a very Taika Waititi, you know what I mean? You know his directorial style.
Yeah, but there's still some dark shit in that though too. That
I just expect certain things from certain
you are
directors.
not gonna
That-
win.
that is
okay?
a-
You're gonna
that-
lose with me
I said,
every
I
time.
said I was playing devil's advocate, yo. I'm saying it.
Yeah,
You will advocate you.
that's true.
It's not working very well, but I commend you for trying, but you're not changing my mind.
It is what it is. And also, that's also why I will always hate fucking oh boy that did the first three X-Men movies. So I get where you're saying. You know what I mean? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ragnarok is a leaps and bounds better movie than Love and Thunder.
Oh hell
yeah.
yeah. I love that one.
Nobody was not saying that.
No, I know.
No disagreements.
But that's
Yeah.
because I think Ragnarok did it well, going from lighthearted
And
to
Carl Urban was in that.
But
Yeah, he was. I forgot he was in the Marvel
yeah,
movies.
what was his name?
I don't. Who knows?
And
I know
Um,
that character
he's
too.
like,
I
but
do
he's
too.
he's like, behold
But if you
my stuff.
If you think about Ragnarok, though, it kind of does what Guardians does, though. It's kind of lighthearted and funny, but by the end of it, shit's fucked. Asgard is being
Yeah, you're like, oh, this
destroyed. Thanos shows up on their ship. I think he did a good job of keeping that kind
Scourge.
of.
That was his name.
Yes.
Yeah, he was great in that movie.
That movie did better in being able to balance out the adult and the childlike versus Love and Thunder just went completely like 6-year-olds will love this and the rest of us are like, what is
Don't say
this
the
shit?
rest. I still liked it. It's not my favorite, but I still liked it.
I liked it too.
But I'm not for
but-
one. But you already know I'm not. Thor is one of
And
my
I
least
love
favorite
Thor.
characters.
Thor is my fave. Love
He's not
Thor.
mine.
Thor and Loki and Daredevil are my boys, and you can't do them wrong, or I
But
will
you
have
know
a
what?
fit.
Captain America is not my favorite either, and I still
love
love those
him.
films.
Yeah,
So,
those
I
are
like him in the comics. too. I think he's
arguably
great.
like we said, the best movies in the.
I
I
hated Cap.
literally-
I hated Wolverine in the comics because I just did not understand when I first started reading why they never lost fights.
When I
Cable
watched the
too.
first Cap movie, I immediately went and bought the most bomb ass tie dye Captain America shirt off Etsy. As soon as that, like, once the credits were
Wow.
rolling, I was like, "Here we go!"
She's
Like
like,
it-
I'm a fan now.
Oh, totally. I was like,
Yeah.
"I love this. This is the best thing ever. Why didn't I watch this before?" Plus, I mean, it's Chris Evans, and
It just shows how well done the first phase of, or that the
it
giant,
was so.
the
well
end game.
done.
It was just the big. Like
I'm not
we've
saying
said,
the
this, it was
first
the
phase.
beginning.
I'm not saying
But
the
they did too good in the beginning. They fucked it up by doing too good at the start, and now
well
that's
all
what
the
we
way
want
through
all
to
the time.
all the way through to end game.
That's true.
And it's like it just shows you the quality of, and it's no wonder that people have like kind of shitty opinions about like the new stuff. It's like because they started out with, stuff they know, for one, like you said, but
Right.
then also it's so well fucking done. Like
The bar
fir-
went like this just
Uh-huh.
about the entire first three
Exactly.
phases. It was steadily going up.
Yep.
And when you keep doing that, especially when you start from the bottom and you keep going like this, you're going to hit a point where you're going to plateau. Do I think it's going to stay there? It might even go down, but I think it's going to go back up. I just think, you know what I mean? It went up so drastically in the beginning for so long there had to be a
It'll
plateau
probably
moment.
take.
And
a
we also
while.
had everyone cranking out so much material and so much content at the same time because there was this huge demand for so much content.
Because of the pandemic
of
when people couldn't do shit else.
Pandemic
Well,
and
I think
streaming, and
now they could even slow down with it. And
they
I'm,
have.
You think that was maybe the best thing for the MCU and the TV shows was like COVID, right? Because like we said,
For
Yeah, because
Like,
you couldn't go to the
until-
movies for the
and
most
so-
part.
until they got to the, not being able to film and things slowing, the
Mhm.
production side of that things
Right.
slowing
so
down.
maybe that like inflated the numbers a little. Like
Oh, absolutely.
like the audience was bigger because it had to be.
Well, yeah, but
people-
we've said that even about with comic books. Like when you can't do anything else,
same
you know
thing.
what I mean? Yeah, you weren't going to bars, you weren't going to restaurants. You know what I mean? You were in your home with your family. You know
And
what I
it
mean?
spiked up the value of comic books too,
And
and
it
the
wa-
collecting, and
And it was fun to dive back into like comics since I bet most of us hadn't read comics from when before or since we were
I was
kids.
still reading, but not the masses amounts that I
yeah,
was.
I would.
same. I still got
would
like
fi-
graphic novels quite a bit and
Yes.
would read those throughout the year. But
That's
and
what I
same
would
with
do.
me. I was probably digital comics every once in a while, but and
I
then
did that a
graphic
lot. I had a lot of
graphic
graphic
novel.
novels on digital.
Especially get like the on demand or like the Netflix style where you can read as much as you can. It was great.
yeah, exactly.
And
we could
reading
consume
digital
all of it.
comics is pretty smooth and user friendly. Like you do it on a Kindle or something. I mean, you can zoom in on like panels and shit.
Yeah.
Just tap it and read the comic panel by panel. It'll just blow it
I
up.
think it's good on things like an iPad or what do they call those? The
The Kindles or whatever.
yeah, what do they call them when they're the
tablet?
tablet? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot better to read them on a tablet than it is trying to do it on the phone. Because even with the pinch
Phone
and shit,
sucks.
it's
I
way
wouldn't
too
do it
small
on a
the
phone, but on a tablet.
Well,
for
on
sure.
some of the phones now are pretty huge. It
But
wouldn't be too
This
bad.
is
they're
huge
almost
and it's still
tablets,
not the
too.
same.
I'm that weirdo that likes comics and graphic novels, so I can sit there every 5 minutes and be like,
Oh.
and sniff it. You know.
I agree. Paper is better, but
Yeah.
sometimes I made the mistake of taking a giant omnibus kind of thing, kind of to travel.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God,
lugging
why
this
would you
giant,
do that?
and I'm like, because I wanted to read Saga. I wanted to kind of catch up on the backstory of this comic, and I decided to lug that around to Mexico and back. And I don't, when I should have just taken my iPad and kind
Or
of
even just, one little one. If you bring like Curse of the White Knight, you and the flight attendant will have a great conversation about that graphic novel. I'm just saying. Like,
She just had to throw some DC in there, didn't she?
yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. Sure did. We know.
Speaking of DC,
I love my DC and my bats, okay?
Speaking of DC, the new Flash movie. I hate to say it, looks.
Oh, it looks
fucking
good. It's
amazing.
gonna yeah.
that
It
was
looks
my point I
incredible.
was going to make as far as canceling.
Ezra Miller.
No. As far
Okay.
as Jonathan
Jonathan
Majors, I think Marvel and Disney are waiting to see what happens with the
Flash.
Flash. Will they recoup their money? Can they still save their ass
Well,
after the
think-
after the controversy? And if they can, I think they're going to risk and be safe.
Michael
with,
Keaton is gonna save the fucking day.
I think that's gonna be hard because like I know all of you guys will you
Yes
will
and
watch
no.
the Flash, but for me, I've never seen anything of the Flash with Ezra Miller. I only know what I've read about him, and from what I've read, I can't watch it. I cannot look
yeah,
at
he's
him.
a shitbag person.
I seriously can't. I cannot watch the movie and look at him and be like, oh,
He's a hero.
I can't do it now that
but
I
see,
already know
and
the
I
shit.
understand, especially as you as a
But-
woman, from the things that he was accused of doing.
then-
I don't know if he's guilty or not.
Here's the thing, too, though. I say that, but at the same
Didn't
token,
he fucking kidnap a chick?
Kind of.
I
cult kind of shit.
yeah, and like grooming and stuff. But at the same time, too, though, I'm kind of a hypocrite in that sense because I still listen to Marilyn Manson's music and I still enjoy it. So it's
Thank you for
What-
saying
what-
that.
what
'cause
did he
I
do?
would have
Yeah.
called you out.
no, yeah, I totally.
But see, there's
do,
one
so
main
it's
difference.
weird.
I understand what you're saying, and I think from a business aspect, you're 100%
I think
correct.
so too.
The difference is pretty much Ezra Miller's been found guilty. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
on
Yeah.
different levels. At this
Well,
point,
and he did a
Jonathan
lot of
Ma-
different shit too.
Yeah, and at this
There's a
point, Jonathan
lot.
Majors and his team have stood by 100% saying he's innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that makes a big difference as well too.
I think the movie will make money, but I don't think it saves Ezra Miller in any way.
Oh
No.
no,
But Jonathan Majors, if he didn't do anything,
At
he
the
shouldn't
Then-
be punished
then he-
anyway.
huh?
If he didn't do anything, he shouldn't be punished
No,
anyway.
exactly. They should just continue on course. But like we've said before, even being accused of like something like rape or whatever the fuck,
Assault.
or assault, whatever
or
it could
whatever,
be.
like you're beating on women. Some people aren't ever gonna. Maybe they never even hear that you got found not guilty. They
Facts.
just go, "Oh, they still got him in this."
Yep.
And he beats women. What the fuck? And then so they're worried that people won't go to the movie anyway.
That's what I said. That's why I think Bill's 100% right. Whether he's found guilty or not, I think this is one of those times where, because this is one of the few times Marvel's following DC. It's the same way they did after they wouldn't do a female-led single superhero movie until after fucking Wonder Woman blew up. Like, that's why they did Black Widow after they killed the character, was because Wonder Woman did so well. You know what I mean?
Woman
They
was
were
amazing.
scared, which
It was
is
a good
it
one.
was the first one was the second one,
Yeah, I agree.
but
It was okay.
it was
Yeah.
okay, yeah, but it wasn't as good as the
It
first
wasn't
one.
bad though.
But again, my whole point being, they're following. They're doing exactly what Bill said. They're going to see if this movie is still financially successful, even with all the controversy behind Ezra Miller. And no matter whether Jonathan Majors is guilty or innocent, as long as they see fucking Flash do well, they'll go ahead and still let it ride.
Yeah.
100% accurate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
It's-
sure.
I mean, it's the sad truth. Hollywood, the music industry,
Oh, hell yeah.
follow the money.
Yep.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
Hell, even Tupac was accused of rape. So was Kobe, and they still get to be legends. So it all depends on who's telling the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and whether or not the people like Jonathan Majors, and I think people do.
Yeah.
People, I think,
I think
anybody.
that has a huge impact on it, whether how big your fan following is versus.
Johnny Depp, prime example.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
and like
And I'll admit, I was one of those people that I love Johnny Depp. I was all for
He's
him. Like, and you know, I think they both did some fucked up shit to each other. I never think anybody is completely
innocent.
innocent in these situations, but I also have the mindset too. This is how I look at it, and this is the honest to God truth. When it comes to like Jonathan Majors, I love watching his roles. I do not give a shit what he wants to do. Why do I care what he wants to do with his personal
Exactly.
life? I don't know him.
And
I
that's
don't
why
interact with him.
that's why I have no problem watching Flash. I can think Ezra Miller's a piece of shit and still enjoy the film.
Yeah.
Same way with Kevin Spacey.
I say I still watch some Kevin Spacey. Like I said, I still listen to Marilyn Manson because I listen to his music and go, oh, the shit I heard, not that surprising. When I listen to his music, I still enjoy that aspect of him.
Tom
And
Cruise.
Tom Cruise, he is batshit insane. Love all his movies. Love all of them. Almost.
All of
Like,
them.
I love Tom Cruise.
That
I'm
guy
like
is crazy.
ride or die with him. Like I love him, and he's nuts. Like it's you know what I mean.
I'd almost
but
take a bullet for Tom Cruise.
I love it.
yeah, I'm on it. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Just get shot for Tom.
I would get.
and
in
he
the-
wouldn't even notice.
I
He'd
would
just
get in the
step over your
closet with
body.
Tom
Probably.
Cruise. That's what I would do. I'd get in the closet with him,
Yeah. No, I'm in the closet too.
and I pull out my gun.
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, thanks
You know what we're
everybody
talking-
that has joined us for the ride. We haven't been live in a while, so
That's true. We haven't been. And I haven't dropped as many F bombs as I thought I would, so I'm pretty proud of myself, not gonna lie.
We did pretty good on the TikTok too.
Awesome. That's
It
exciting.
looked like we got, decent amount of likes and people checking it
deal.
out or at least joining in and listening.
Joining
for a
in with
while.
our crazy conversations that
Right.
just go off the rails.
Oh yeah, it happens on we do Dragging These Balls. It's another sideshow of the Comic Zone. Me, Chelsea, and her husband Vince, and her brother Scott. And it happens this way every time.
And his brother and his other brother Vinny, and the other brother Vinny.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he didn't catch that.
but we fucking every conversation goes off the rails like every single
Yeah,
time.
we went into quantum physics this last time,
wow.
so
Dude, we
yeah.
were talking about some really good shit on the
Yeah.
newest episode of that. So
What's up?
go check that out, nerds.
Absolutely.
So where are we at on time here, Bill?
Almost 2
Oh,
hours.
Oh shit!
Oh shit.
Hour. and
Damn, for
50.
real?
Yeah.
Didn't feel like 2 hours.
Oh, now we're getting like the music, like at the speech awards. Like, oh, we gotta wrap
Yep.
it up.
Microphone starts going down.
Yep.
Just cut you off.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank my friends and family and all the little people who made it possible. Yeah.
That's the littlest person in here.
Appreciate all the peasants that I had to step on to get here.
All you simps.
I still love y'all.
Much love. Mwah.
This has been the Comic Zone. We are live. Thanks for joining us, nerds. If you want to check out more of our episodes, go to thecomiczone.com and check us out up on YouTube as well. We got
Instagram.
yep, all the
TikTok.
damn shit. TikTok. All
I
the
don't do
shit.
my makeup for nothing.
Yeah, she paints the barn.
I paint the barn. It needs painted, yo.
That always sounds dirty to me.
If the barn needs painted, you paint that shit, okay?
Ugh.
Y'all are terrible.
All right, yeah.
Ruining my makeup.
Fade it out, Bill. Damn.
I'm waiting for us to stop talking.
Hey, you gotta say it though, man.
Keep it black.
Keep it black.